Jeff Jager has us underway here at the LA Memorial Coliseum. From the 2, it's Mazio Royster from USC, and he slips and is dropped inside the 10. So the Buccaneers will get started first as Craig Erickson will be at the helm. 14 touchdowns, 4th in the NFC, but he has thrown 17 interceptions. The offensive line will have to do a job today. It will be sorely tested by a very good defensive line of the Raiders. Paul Gruber, the leader amongst that group. And Curtis Buckley, a starter at wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Reggie Cobb will certainly have to do the job on the ground.
Curtis Buckley in purely to block. This is going to be a running play off the left side. Double team on the tackle. Try and break the ball right here on the left side of the screen.
On the ground. And Cobb ahead for maybe 1 yard. Reggie Cobb, who was injured several games ago against the Atlanta Falcons, looking to regain his form.
Buckley right off the bat. What they want to do is be physical. Going against Derek Hoskins right here is just coming to block somebody. Sam White wants him in here just to get physical. They want to establish the physicalness of this game. They're already fighting. This is going to be a good football game. Nice and physical. I like to see it.
What better way to treat a bully than to be a bully with him? 2nd and 9 for the Buccaneers. Opening drive. Dave Moore in motion. On the ground again. And maybe a yard as Cobb was the ball carrier again. And again, that Raiders defense, a very strong group. As a matter of fact, ranked 2nd in the National Football League. Greg Townsend, Nolan Harrison, Chester McLaughlin, and the ageless wonder, Howie Long, who's having a sensational season. Linebacking core, Winston Moss and Aaron Wallace. On the corners, Joe Kelly, the middle linebacker. And a secondary that's one of the fastest in the league, Dennis.
Very good, very talented secondary here, James. This will be a challenge for Craig Erickson to get the ball to his quarterbacks going against his secondary.
3rd and 8. And way ahead of things, Chester McLaughlin.
The good thing about Craig Erickson, he's a young quarterback, but he plays like an older quarterback. He does the play fakes. He's got a very good hard count.
Defense, number 91, contact prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And that was Chester McLaughlin. Our referee today is Dick Hantack, and McLaughlin certainly doesn't need any additional advantage. As a matter of fact, Bruce Reimers of the Bucs says this guy McLaughlin has the entire package to be awesome.
Chester McLaughlin, he's got the speed, he's got strength. He's a #1 draft choice from 2 years ago. Very, very talented football player. He will be a factor in today's game.
The penalty makes it 3rd and 3. This is Workman in motion. Erickson back to pass with a little time. Complete to Workman. Enough for the first down. So Vince Workman showing his hands as he hauls in the pass for the first down. Aaron Wallace on the tackle, but a 7-yard pass play from Erickson to Workman.
The good thing about Vince Workman here, James, is he's got very good hands. He came into the NFL as a wide receiver. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have shifted him to a running back because they like to get him out of the backfield and use his hands. Very talented. As well, he can line up in the backfield and shift out to a wide receiver. This is something we could see in today's ballgame.
Rudy Harris in the backfield for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 1st and 10. Ball at the 24. On the ground. And check it, make it Reggie Cobb, the ball carrier. Rudy Harris was blocking for him.
Nice job by Greg Townsend. Good penetration here. Penetration kills. Whenever you get a defensive lineman to get upfield, that makes the blocking guard, the person that's coming up to block that defensive line, he's got to get upfield as well. It's not what Tampa Bay would like to see. They'd like to be able to kick him out or to hook him and get that ball bounced to the outside.
And Tampa Bay also would not like to see this, a loss of 3 on the play, bringing up a 2nd and 13.
Easier said than done.
No doubt about it. Dave Moore in motion, the big tight end. Erickson back to pass. Low pass to Cobb, but he caught it anyway. And Cobb, that is, regaining only about 3 of those yards. San Diego ahead of Kansas City early in that one. That's good news for Raider fans indeed. Dennis, a little tough for the Bucs to get a little something going right here. Again, this is an important statement drive for the Buccaneers.
It's a very important statement. What the Buccaneers need to do is keep the Raiders defense off balance and establish a few things. We'll get to that in a moment.
3rd and 11, Erickson. Flag on the play, but the pass is complete for the first down to the big tight end, Ron Hall. But there is a flag on the play, the near side 25 and the far side 26. Ron Hall in the contest with 19 receptions on the season.
If we just go statistically, James, the bet's on the Raiders for picking up that pass.
Offside. Defense lined up in the neutral zone. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
Now, what would make you think that, Bird?
Well, the Raiders are a very, very penalized football club. As a matter of fact, they hold the distinction of being the most penalized football club. A lot of teams wouldn't like that, but then again, the Raiders, hey, they probably love it.
Sam White wouldn't want that reputation as difficult a challenge as it has been already this season. Cobb and Workman, the backs in the I formation. On first down, play action. Erickson hanging in the pocket, throws it complete for the first down to Hawkins. And there is a flag in the backfield at about the 26. But Erickson showing some poise in the face of that heat, staying with the play.
That's a good thing about young Craig Erickson.
Holding. Offense, number 62. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
That's on Ian Beckles, a fourth-year player out of Indiana.
I've always been impressed with Ian Beckles, James. I've played football against him. I find him a very powerful, very stout offensive guard. However, whenever you're playing against this defensive line, you do what you have to do. On that play, he just pulled the defensive lineman down.
Now, that's a term I've heard you use, a football term, stout.
Oh, and he is stout. He's not much taller than a fire plug, but he's harder to move.
As a result of the penalty, 1st and 20, Erickson under pressure. Erickson sacked. Give the credit to Nolan Harrison and Greg Townsend. And a loss of 2 on the play.
Good job of the Raiders collapsing the pocket here. No particular person in particular, just a good job of people just closing in the pocket, making Erickson have to step up and to his left. Greg Townsend sets there along with Harrison to pick up the garbage sack.
2nd and 21 for the Bucs, who can't get on track from this part of the field on the opening possession. 3 wide receivers for Tampa Bay. And flags on the play as it looked as if Nolan Harrison might have done it on his own. We'll find out whether he was drawn offside.
That'll go against Bruce Reimers. He jumped.
The defensive eye of Dennis Byrd calling that one.
I tell you.
Oh, gosh.
I hate to do it, but sometimes I find myself siding with that defensive line. Now call the offensive lineman.
Well, Dick Hantag has been very busy in the opening few moments here.
False start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
Well, your eye is still good.
It still works.
Are they?
Well, then it's not unusual for Tampa to experience difficulty on its opening possession of the ball game.
Once again, Tampa Bay exhibiting that futility on the opening drive. Look at Tampa Bay. On their opening drive, they're over here. They don't do very well. The Los Angeles Raiders over here, a very good. Number 1 in the league for the Los Angeles Raiders on first possession. Last in the league on first possession for Tampa Bay.
Tampa still stuck at the 20. 2nd and 26 as Sam White just hoping to get something going here. 4 wide receivers in. Ron Hall in motion. Erickson incomplete. Horace Copeland was the intended receiver, and he was about 4 yards shy as he completed his route, 4 yards shy of the first down marker. Defending there, Terry McDaniel, and McDaniel certainly the possessor of very good speed.
Terry McDaniel's a fantastic athlete. He's an all-pro. He's an all-pro safety, and it also helps whenever Copeland falls to the ground. Now, watch Horace Copeland at the top of the screen fall down and ruin the timing of the pass.
But good recovery on his part. Getting up. 3rd and 26. Erickson out of the shotgun to Workman. And Workman run out of bounds at the 25. Tampa needing to get all the way up to the 46 for the first down. Lionel Washington running them out of bounds. And you heard Sam White screaming and hollering, hey, wait a minute, they're hitting my guys out of bounds.
James, this is going to be a very physical football game. Up here in the booth, we can hear the hits. We can hear the collisions. Whenever you can do that up in the booth, you know there's some violence, some physical contact going on the field.
And that's saying something as high up as we are, Dennis.
I tell you what, you would think we were in the blimp.
Tim Brown awaiting this Dan Straczynski punt. Tim Brown had a 74-yard return last week for a touchdown against Seattle. Timmy Brown being pushed back and out of bounds at about the 27. So the Raiders will get their first opportunity after that 47-yard punt when we come back. Tampa Bay staying consistent, coming away empty-handed on its first possession. No score here at the LA Memorial Coliseum between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Raiders. Jeff Hostetler at the helm, the leading rusher in the starting backfield for the Raiders, and he'll be operating behind the line with 15-year vet Max Montoya, who's played in 207 league games. Backs and receivers, Tim Brown having his finest season. Nick Bell will have to do the job on the ground. First and 10 for LA out of the eye. And on the ground up to the 30 for about a 2-yard gain. Big Nick Bell will bring up a 2nd and 8. The Tampa defense looking to rise to the challenge, ranked 22nd in the National Football League, has a young but talented defensive line. Santana Dotson and Mark Wheeler back in the start. Hardy Nickerson, 175 tackles. He is leading the charge in tackles. And a defensive secondary that will be tested, and gets his first test right here. But it's complete for the first down. And boy, did Alexander Wright show his macho in holding on to a pass after being whacked seriously hard.
Let me tell you something. You're talking about macho. Hardy Nickerson just shellacked Alexander Wright. What a lick.
15-yard pass play, and the Raiders showing a no-huddle, giving the Buccaneers a little taste of their own medicine. First and 10, the pitch to Bell. And Bell ahead for only one. Tackled by Martin Mayhew. Art Shell, the big man on the sidelines for the Raiders. And interestingly, Art Shell has got that wrinkle going consistently here on the opening drive for the Raiders with the no-huddle, Dennis.
Hey, Art Shell feels like, hey, Sam White's doing a good job running. Let's run it. It keeps the defense out of a rhythm they cannot substitute.
And we know that the Raiders normally come out to shoot fast anyway, but perhaps to keep them even more focused, Dennis. Hostetler back to pass. Flag on the play. A little swing pass. Nick Bell needs to get to the 45, and he's about 3 yards shy, but there are flags on the field. And Sean Price was applying a little pressure that time.
Defense number 92, 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down, 2nd down.
And maybe a little too much pressure on the part of Sean Price.
A little eager, James.
Wow, Washington knocked off Atlanta. That puts a damper on Atlanta's playoff hopes. As a matter of fact, the Falcons now on life support as far as the playoffs are concerned.
Very interesting day in the AFC. Cleveland's eliminated from the playoffs.
Hostetler drills it complete to Tim Brown for the first down. A rocket delivered by Jeff Hostetler. Now, Dennis, I thought this guy was supposed to have a weak arm, Jeff Hostetler.
I'll tell you, that is not the case. People label Jeff Hostetler with not having a strong arm. That is not the case. With the New York Giants, that's where he got the reputation. They run a very conservative ball control offense, short passing routes. Unlike the Raiders, who like the crossing routes that are deep, they start their hooks and crossing routes at 15 yards.
First and 10 from the 36. Back across the field to Alexander Wright, and Wright picks up 9 on that pass play. Finally stopped by Marty Carter. Will bring up a 2nd and short for the Raiders. Cincinnati with the victory over the Rams And the 49ers certainly can clinch the NFC West with the victory over Detroit. Well, again, what you were talking about, Dennis, before, that unfounded reputation of Jeff Hostetler, he didn't have the talent to go deep in the wide receiving core in New York as well.
He neither had the talent nor the offensive scheme to run the deep route.
2nd and 1 for the Raiders. Good protection. Hostetler looking for a right touchdown. Raiders. Alexander Wright hauling in his 3rd touchdown of the season, beating Martin Mayhew.
Absolutely undeterred on this entire drive, the Los Angeles Raiders move the ball downfield and get a touchdown. Jeff Hostetler drops back. He picks up his first read. Now he goes to his second read, who is Alexander Wright. With that blazing speed, Alexander gets behind the safety. Touchdown.
Alexander Wright ran the right route. And Jeff Jager with the point after. Jeff Jager now needing 9 more points to set the scoring record single season for the Raiders, besting George Blanda. You're looking at Alexander Wright, key man for the Raiders in that drive. Raiders on top 7-zip with 5:20 left in the first quarter. Jeff Hostetler was 4 of 4 for 64 yards. 3 of those receptions went to Alexander Wright. Total of 51 yards and the touchdown. 27-yard pass play. Jager high but short. From the 14 was Mazio Royster, banged out of bounds, shy of the 20, mark it at about the 19.
One more look at the touchdown. Alexander Wright in the slot going against Martin Mayhew, the safety. No deception, no trickery. This is just pure speed by Alexander Wright. Take a look at this. Just runs by Martin Mayhew. That's exhibiting that tremendous talent, tremendous speed that the Raiders have. Gets behind the safety, 3D, touchdown.
And it's amazing when you saw that the corners were off about 10 yards on the Raiders' wide receivers.
Very deep.
First and 10. Erickson under pressure. Howie Long had him first. Nolan Harrison finished up. Second sack of the afternoon suffered by Craig Erickson. And Howie Long showing, as we mentioned at the top, he has somehow found the fountain of youth.
What a guy. 13 years in the NFL. Just still keeps cranking. Tremendous intensity. James, Coach Art Shell says about Howie Long, he's a tremendous competitor. But what sets him apart, not only his knowledge, is his film studies. He's a guy that spends the extra time. He knows what's going to go on before the play snap.
2nd and 22. Tampa Bay backed up at its 6. On the ground is Cobb, and Cobb has nowhere to go. Maybe a couple of yards. And again, we talked about the first possession futility experienced all season by Tampa Bay. Certainly that was the case again today, and Los Angeles sticking with its game plan.
Once again, continuing the trend, both teams. The Los Angeles Raiders, #1 in the NFL on first drives. Once again, Tampa Bay, the last. And it showed through. The Raiders marched all the way downfield. Touchdown. Tampa Bay Buccaneers continuing the futility.
From its own 9, 3rd and 20, 4:05 left in the first quarter. Tampa Bay trailing by 7. And Erickson fumble. Recovered by the Raiders. Chester McLaughlin.
A ground view, Greg Townsend coming from the right side, gets around the back, from the left side, gets around the back, just gets a hand on the football right there, knocks it loose, and Chester McLaughlin picks up the fumble.
Excellent job by McLaughlin.
I tell you, James, once again, it's just that ferocious pressure that front four can put up there.
1st and goal at the 5. And Napoleon McCallum, touchdown Raiders. rushing touchdown of the season for Napoleon McCallum, and the right side of that offensive line continuing to do the job. Al Davis obviously very pleased in the early going.
Napoleon McCallum's just going to take the ball on a lead off the right-hand side. He's going to read that block there, comes underneath. Napoleon McCallum's going to take the ball underneath. That's just simple, basic football the Raiders have established.
McCallum first game back since an appendectomy Thanksgiving, and what a comeback as Jeff Jager with his second point after inches closer.
One more look at the touchdown from the end zone view. Napoleon McCallum is just going to stretch this defense, then cut the ball back where he sees daylight. Poor tackling by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, you heard me before the commercial break mention Napoleon McCallum had appendectomy performed November 27th, first game back, and boy, he comes back in strong fashion. Jager high and short again, this time to the left. From the 11, it's Mazio Royster, and Royster across the 20 to about the 23-yard line, so it'll be first and 10 from about the 23 for Tampa Bay.
Take one more look at the sack coming from the left side of the screen. Will be Greg Townsend right over here. Does a good job. Watch the club back inside. Just throws the offensive tackle out of the way, knocks the ball out. Greg Townsend gets the sack and a forced fumble. Chester McLaughlin picks it up, gets credit for the fumble recovery.
Greg Townsend, the all-time sack leader in the AFC, 107. 3:42 left in the first. Tampa trailing the Los Angeles Raiders. First and 10 from the 22. Erickson drills it complete. An excellent, no, they call it incomplete. An excellent adjustment made on the part of Courtney Hawkins, who had to twist around to try to haul in that low pass on his backside.
You know, we saw a little bit of a look at Lionel Washington. Along with Terry McDaniels, they have 17 years of combined experience between the two of them. That's a nice, older, experienced secondary in there, James. Very talented unit. As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, they're the #1 defense against the pass. You've got to think that they work hand in hand. The defensive line, the defensive secondary, each one preys off the other.
Second and 10, Erickson back to pass, complete. Vince Workman hauls it in, a 5-yard pass play. Tampa needing to get up to the 32 for the first down. 3:20 left in the first quarter. Tampa Bay trailing the Raiders 14-0. San Diego extended its lead over Kansas City 10-0, that in the first quarter, and certainly the Raiders fans will cheer that one on, and there is a flag down on the field. Lionel Washington being tended to on the side, looks like, in the hip area.
Prior to the flag, number 52 on the defense had called timeout. The first timeout for the LA.
And that's Mike Jones who called for the timeout for the Raiders, leaving the Raiders with 2. Tampa Bay has 3. Sam White just a week ago was effusive in his praise of the team and excited about possibilities for next year, but boy, is this going to be a difficult task beating a team in the AFC West.
You talk about mission impossible. They've lost 9 straight against the AFC West, 19 straight against these teams from California. Wow, talk about utility.
On 3rd and 4, the draw, and that's going to be close. A late flag thrown on the play. And it looks like Vince Workman might be a little shy of the first down marker from here. The spot needs to be just beyond the 32.
Now what Tampa Bay is doing here, James, they ran a draw play there on a situation that looked like it'd be a pass.
Foul. Defense, unnecessary roughness, number 46. 15-yard penalty tacked onto the end of the run. First down.
That against Torin Dorn, and that sounds like an old Raider penalty. Unnecessary roughness.
I think that's kind of one that fits in. I would venture a guess that a very, very high percentage of their penalties are personal fouls.
And we take a look at Lionel Washington being tended to. Not certain about his return. What was it against Greenwood? On first down, Reggie Cobb spinning his way down to about the 45 of the Raiders. A 7-yard run by Reggie Cobb.
Back to the mission impossible. The Buccaneers have lost 19 straight games on the road against AFC teams. That's unheard of, James. That's something you've got to fix. That whenever you're playing against an AFC football club, you've got to win some of these games.
Well, that's certainly symptomatic of the kind of futility that Tampa Bay has experienced over the last 10 seasons, Dennis. 2nd and 4. Ball spotted at the 46 of the Raiders. Long count by Craig Erickson. On the ground, and Cobb inside the 45 to about the 44. Tampa Bay looking to get to the 42 for another first down with 2:03 left in the first quarter play and trailing the Raiders 14-zip.
Reggie Cobb, a nice, powerful running back. He's kind of a bit nicked up. He's got some turf toe. He had a knee injury earlier in the year. He's coming back.
Ian Beckles, excuse me, Dennis, the injured offensive lineman for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, down on the ground. The guy that you said you like so very much. As we look at finals from around the National Football League, Minnesota knocks off Green Bay, and Green Bay continues to slip in the playoff chase. Atlanta again on life support relative to its playoff hopes, losing to Washington today, having never won at RFK. And Charles McCray replaces Ian Beckles at right guard. On third down, Erickson sacked again, third sack of the afternoon by the Raiders. Credit this one to Chester McLaughlin.
Smothering pass rush. I tell you what, the Raiders front four, we're taking a look at Chester McLaughlin right here in the center of the screen. Watch this power move. Comes around, that's a nose tackle stunt. Just comes in there and dives and knifes in at the legs of Erickson. Nothing Erickson can do but go down.
Chester McLaughlin picking up his 7th sack of the season. The Raiders came into the contest second in the AFC with 38. They have 41 now. Tim Brown awaiting this Straczynski punt. Oh! And there is a flag on the play as Straczynski hits the ground as he was run into by Aaron Wallace.
Well, that'll be a personal foul against the Raiders. Aaron Wallace just comes through and just pelts the punter. Straczynski takes a shot.
So the question, yeah, that's the question, whether it's 5 or 15 now, Dennis. Let's see. I don't know. Certainly it looks like it might be of the 5-yard variety to me.
Yeah, running into the kicker as opposed to roughing the kicker. This appears to be a 5-yard penalty.
Foul on the defensive team running into the kicker. We have a personal foul on the kicking team after the kick, unnecessary roughness. Penalties are offset. Replay, 4th down.
So Dick Hantak had a bit more information to massage in rendering that decision. All of that for nothing.
Aaron Wallace breathing a sigh of relief.
Yeah, no doubt about it. How would you like to go in and hear a nice little chewing out from Archell?
I tell you, I would pass on that.
Absolutely. Called in sick that day.
Don't you wish?
1:13 left in the first quarter. Tampa Bay trailing the Raiders by 14. So Tim Brown back near his own 13, awaiting Dan Straczynski's punt.
Let it go, let it go, let it go!
And you heard Tim Brown's teammates yelling at him to let it go. Wisely so. So the Raiders will start at the 20, a 52-yard punt by Dan Straczynski, and Timmy Brown following the advice of his teammates.
You know, there's a rule there, James, that many people don't know about. Punt returners are forbidden to return that punt from inside the 10-yard line. They just let it go. The chances of the ball bouncing and then going into the end zone are far greater than the opportunity that you would have to catch the ball and bring it out. The theory is that you're playing for the field position, get the ball at the 20 instead of getting tackled around the 9 or 10.
Sound thinking. So 1st and 10, Los Angeles from its own 20. Alexander Wright to the far side. Bell the back. Bell the ball carrier. And And Nick Bell gets it up to about the 23, a gain of 3. Right now, we'll swing it back east to New York and Greg Gumbel.
All right, JB, and we'll swing you out to the Silverdome. Steve Young, his 3rd touchdown pass of the day. Watch Jerry Rice. Makes the catch. His knees never touch. 80 yards, 21-3, 49ers, early second quarter. JB?
All right, Greg, and here in Los Angeles, the Raiders lead at 14-0 over Tampa Bay. Jeff Hostetler back to pass. Batted down by Hardy Nickerson, who would love to have picked that one off. Hardy Nickerson back here in his hometown of Los Angeles, having attended Bourbon Day High School, said he had to spend money on close to 55 tickets. I think that's a pretty expensive proposition.
That's definitely an expensive proposition when you're talking around $30 for a ticket, and Hardy's got to buy those tickets. I tell you what, that's a pretty penny there.
Hardy Nickerson has family and friends and his high school coach here as well, and well, he certainly has made everyone proud. And again, we've talked about this so often. Here is one guy who has brought a serious work ethic and intensity to this Tampa Bay defense.
Fantastic work ethic and a great guy, too.
On 3rd and 8, Hostetler still with time, dumps it across the middle. Shy of the first down. The Raiders needed to get to the 30. And Wright is going to be shy about a yard.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers all year, James, have just been short of those big plays. They needed to get that interception by Hardy Nickerson.
And short in this first quarter, Dennis, by 14 points. That's the end of the first quarter with the score. The Raiders lead it 14-0 over Tampa Bay. Back here for the start of the second stanza. Tampa Bay trailing the Raiders 14-0. And Dennis, I guess if we had to put a headline on that first quarter, Tampa Bay tried to establish a bully-like mentality in the first quarter, but they're trying to do that against the Raiders.
They wanted to come out with Buckley. They wanted to establish the fact that they can be a physical football team. Sam Weiss wanted them to punish some guys, but hey, they're trying to do this in one game. This is something that the Raiders have done for years and years, is punish people. So, you know, you got to do a little bit better than what they've been doing so far.
And again, to embellish that, Sam White knew that the Raiders would be talking trash and having the experienced older guys trying to bully them around, wanting his guys to step up to the table. Jeff Gossett on the punt for the Raiders. Fair catch signal at the 34 by Courtney Hawkins. A 37-yard punt, no return. 1st and 10, Tampa Bay. From the 34. Cobb, big run, hard charging run by Cobb, and I know you like that hit.
Gosh, I love to see that kind of stuff. Reggie Cobb doing absolutely nothing in the way of juking and moving. He's just a north-south runner. He's going to take the handoff and just cut it right through the line.
And that from a guy who's still not really healthy in terms of that knee, but he's giving it his best. 7 carries for 17 yards thus far.
You know, he's really not healthy. Right now, he's nursing some nagging injuries. He's got the turf toe, which, you know, isn't a serious injury physically as far as everyday life, but whenever you're a football player, that really affects your explosiveness.
Tampa Bay needs to get to the 45 for the first down. 2nd and 3. Cobb picking his way, has the first down. Good second effort by Reggie Cobb as he picks up 4 yards on the play, tackled by the combination of Winston Moss and Aaron Wallace.
That's the old drill there whenever you see football players running through the tires. You know, they keep their feet pumping and their legs going. Reggie Cobb had to do that there. There were bodies laying all over the place. He was having to jump over people and high step. Did a good job getting the first down.
Cobb and Workman, the split backs. This is Workman in motion. Play action. Didn't fool anybody as Erickson throws it away. Now, Dennis, I know the rule is if you run outside of the pocket and toss it in the direction where there is no receiver, that's not intentional grounding, but wasn't he still in the pocket there?
Yeah, he was in the pocket, but I tell you, he's just getting rid of the football.
Yeah,
Chester McLaughlin having a whale of a game up to this point, no pun intended, doing very good.
No pun intended.
That is a big, big man.
Chester McLaughlin with the pressure there. Ian Beckles out with a sprained right knee for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not expected to return. Ron Hall in motion. Erickson rolling right. Drills it. Incomplete. Intended receiver was Horace Copeland. Copeland, and defending that time, Terry McDaniel. Well, McDaniel, the fifth-year veteran out of Tennessee. I tell you, talking with him yesterday, he was an intense young man, McDaniel.
I tell you, he's intense in everything he does on the football field, in the interviews. You look into his eyes, you know he's a serious guy, very serious type of football player. Something else that you see with him whenever he gets to talking about football, he just loves the game, and he likes to talk about it.
You talked about being intense in the interviews. I tried to loosen him up with what I thought was a little humor. Didn't crack a smile. He got right to the question.
Absolutely.
3rd and 10 for the Bucs. Second quarter action, and a timeout called on the field by Tampa Bay, leaving the Bucs with 2. The Raiders have 2. But the Raiders are on top here in the second quarter by the score of 14-0. Tampa Bay having a difficult time with the Los Angeles Raiders. Jeff Hostetler looking impressive numbers-wise in the early going, but Craig Erickson, well, Tampa Bay knew that Erickson would be up under pressure, but my gosh, 4 times to be sacked here, and we're not even through the halfway point of the second quarter.
17.5 minutes, he's been sacked 4 times. Goodness grief, you've got to give the guy some pressure to set back there. We knew coming into the football game that he was going to be under a tremendous amount of pressure, but 4 sacks, it's going to be a long day.
Now, what do you do against an intimidating team like the Raiders? What can Tampa Bay do? What kind of weapons does it have?
Well, what they've got to establish is some sort of a running game.
We'll find out if Tampa Bay can get that going. 3rd and 10. Wilson in motion. Erickson to pass. Under pressure. Ducks under it. Nearly picked off, but Hawkins has it for the first down and a lot more inside the 25. Well, Sam Weiss didn't draw it up that way, but nonetheless, sandlot football at its best.
I tell you, you're getting back to Erickson just doing a great job avoiding the rush. He ducked under what looked to be Greg Townsend's pass rush here from the right side of your screen and gets the ball off. I tell you, watch this scramble right there. Greg Townsend just misses him, and Erickson under tremendous pressure gets the ball off. That's a great job. Erickson moving to his right, throwing back across his body, and of course, Courtney Hawkins picking up the extra yardage.
Tampa Bay in excellent field position. 1st and 10 at the 20 of the Raiders. Draw play, Workman inside the 10, dives down to the 5.
That's a great job by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of keeping this Raider defense off balance. You've got 4 wide receivers in the game, a dot formation with 1 running back in the backfield. That's called a dot. Vince Workman here, the right side of your screen, takes the draw. The Raiders defense is rushing. They're getting everybody upfield. What the offensive linemen are told to do is just block those guys to the outside, let the gates open up, and Workman just takes the ball right through. Very good job of finding the hole, obviously, by Workman and getting the extra yardage.
1st and goal for the Bucs at the 5 of the Raiders. And Craig Erickson, not liking what he's seen, calls a timeout, leaving the Bucs with 1 and trailing by 14 now. Bruce Reimers, the veteran, trying to say, wait a minute, Craig, we could have worked this one out. But Craig wants to go and talk it over instead. Back with more after this. Tampa Bay in excellent position to get on the scoreboard, trailing the Raiders 14-0 here with 11:53 remaining. And I tell you, Sam White's team does a good job once it's inside the 20, but then it has not been there very often, an average of about 1.5 times a contest.
To put that in perspective, the team should be down there 3 or 4 times a game.
On 1st and goal, play action. No, my goodness. McDaniel had it right there and a wide open field in front of him.
Absolutely no doubt about it.
The pressure that time supplied by Anthony Smith, who rushed Erickson.
Oh, Terry McDaniels gets this interception. He is gone, and he is a burner himself. He can run. The pressure. Oh, my goodness. Oh,
couldn't ask for it better, Dennis.
Oh, touchdown. Oh. That's the best pass of the game. Hit it right in the number.
2nd and goal. Harris and Cobb, the backs for the Bucs. It goes to Cobb. Cobb looking for pay dirt. Touchdown, Bucs.
A very, very big drive for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They needed this touchdown to keep the Los Angeles Raiders from outdistancing them. They wanted to keep some of that closeness in this football game. They just got a little bit of it right there with the touchdown by Reggie Cobb.
Second rushing touchdown of the season for Cobb, and a nice block provided as well by Rudy Harris, the rookie out of Clemson University, and you saw him over there congratulating Cobb.
Rudy Harris making the lead block there. Great job. Takes out 2 defenders for the Los Angeles Raiders. Fantastic job. Chalk that one up to Rudy Harris's efforts.
And Michael Husted on for the point after, as he is perfect on the season, 22 of 22. And it's a 7-point ball game. 14-7 ball game. Tampa Bay capitalizing on a missed interception opportunity by Lionel Washington. Will make that Terry McDaniel, and Michael Husted about to kick off for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Raiders with some serious speed back there in Rocket Ismail and Willie Gault. And Rocket 5 yards back will decide to down it and bring it out to the 21st and 10 from the 20 for the Raiders.
One more look at the touchdown, James. Bruce Reimers, the left offensive guard, is going to make the kick-out block on Lionel Washington. Rudy Harris is going to make the seal block on the inside on the linebacker and strong safety, and Reggie Cobb's going to take the ball right into the gap for a touchdown. This is very good play calling by coaches, very good schematic plan. Rudy Harris does a great job. He actually takes out 3 defenders. Fantastic job. Reggie Cobb just waltzes into the end zone.
Tampa Bay has done the job with the ball, chewing up clock. But the Raiders have capitalized on the turnover and lead it 14-7. Hostetler. Intended receiver was Tim Brown. Marty Carter going for the interception. 11:29 left in the first half of play. Tim Brown's Raiders on top 14-7.
Another case, James, of the Los Angeles Raiders relaxing a little bit, letting their guard down. They've had problems with that the entire season. Since the opening game, they've won all their games by no more than a total of 5 points.
And Art Shell indicated that, Dennis, when he said our team cannot handle prosperity during the game when we're up.
Come on, Nick!
On the ground, Nick Bell. And the big back ahead for maybe 2 yards as a horde of orange and white is there for the stop. Floyd Peters doing his best to get that defense fired up, and you've always liked Floyd Peters as a defensive guru.
I always have liked him. I ran his defensive system under his assistant at the New York Jets. Of course, Pete Carroll was the defensive coordinator for the Jets, but it's the same system. I've always liked it. You go on the premise that you take the front 4 guys, he calls them his horses, and you just stunt gaps, you get those guys moving and get them to create havoc. Don't sit on the line of scrimmage and read. And he's doing a very good job of it here with the talent that he has at Tampa Bay.
With the emphasis on creating havoc. 3rd and 8, Hostetler. Trying to escape, does not. Hanging on for dear life, Ricky Reynolds, who picks up his first sack of the season. So Ricky Reynolds hanging in there, wasn't about to let that cowboy go.
Hey, speaking of Floyd Peters and his defenses, it keeps Jeff Hostetler on his heels. What they did on this play, take a look here, is you drop the tackles out of the screen. The defensive tackles drop out. That takes Jeff Hostetler's first read off, and you get the guy on the blitz from the outside with the cornerback. Great defensive call.
Reynolds' hustle pays off, and Jeff Gossett has to come on to punt for the Raiders. Courtney Hawkins back 080. Hawkins at the last second signal for the fair catch and does so at the 36. A 43-yard punt. Decent hang time of 4.2. Steve Wisniewski being talked to on the sidelines there, along with Gerald Perry. And certainly the line has been doing a very good job. You take a look at the NFC Central. Again, Tampa Bay playing a part of spoiler last week, knocking off Chicago, and Chicago loses again yesterday to Denver. So things still very much up in the air there.
Still very much up in the air. Green Bay once again slipping a little bit. Detroit, they're doing well with the passing game. They start Kramer. He does a fantastic job. Response for him. It's getting interesting.
And with Detroit trailing San Francisco badly, things will get even more interesting in the Central as Reggie Cobb takes it up near the 40. Craig Erickson, I guess, you know, in all fairness, Sam White was indicating that Craig Erickson is still writing his own script in terms of what role or how significant a role Craig Erickson, will play with the team next year.
Well, whenever Sam White is talking about that, he's talking about what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will do in the draft this season with their picks that they pick up.
2nd and 6. And it looks like the entire defensive line of the Raiders comes through. I tell you, that's one team you don't want to really kind of fake with anything because they'll come hard.
I tell you what, whenever the quarterback says, I'm going to use a hard count, the offensive lineman, oh, no. We're going to get pelted. And, you know, the offensive lineman, he's got to sit there. Those guys, the defensive linemen just come off it and shellac him. You know, there's nothing they can do about it.
We'll have to wait to see what happens. I'm not sure if that was McCray or Reimers that bobbed a little bit that time. Speaking of Reimers was, well, actually, he had the right attitude, and we'll expand on that in a second, but Reimers thought that he would be rotating with Charles McCray because Reimers has a bad left ankle.
False start. Offense, number 66. 5-yard penalty. Still 2nd down.
And that was Reimers. But again, expound on that. Reimers thought that he would be rotating today, Dennis.
Well, Tampa Bay moves offensive guards and tackles in and out of the football game to keep them fresh. Bruce Reimers was hoping that he would go back in and out with Ian Beckles. Well, Beckles is down, so now Reimers has got to play the entire game. He could wear down as the game goes on with that injury.
2nd and 11 for Tampa Bay. 9:18 left in a half. Tampa Bay trailing by 7. Erickson drills it complete to Workman, who has the first down up near midfield. Vince Workman finally brought down by Winston Moss, the ex-Tampa Bay Buccaneer.
Tell you, we've talked about this earlier in the season. If Tampa Bay could just hold that talent that they've had there in Tampa, they would be fantastic. A lot of guys have gone around the league from Tampa Bay. The Raiders running twists, that's ETs, tackles and then switching spots, and the Buccaneers offensive line did a good job of picking them up.
1st and 10 from the 49. Horace Copeland in motion. Lionel Washington following him on the ground. And across midfield goes Reggie Cobb. A gain of maybe about 3. And Tampa Bay still doing a good job. And again, Dennis, as you mentioned before, attempting to establish a ground game to keep that defense of the Raiders off balance.
Well, that's something that they have to do. They've got to get that rushing game going so the Los Angeles Raiders defensive front guys don't just get to tee off every play. They've got to play the run and the pass.
On 2nd and 7, Cobb nowhere to go as Howie Long right there to greet him. Howie Long nearly there for the handoff himself.
Look, you're looking at a guy that's going to be a future Hall of Fame football player. He's been to the Pro Bowl 7 times. The only other Raider with the most trips to the Pro Bowl would be Coach Art Shell. Howie Long would like to get to that record himself. Coming from the right side of the screen, look at Howie Long slicing down in there. Reggie Cobb doesn't have anywhere to go.
Back to live action, the home run ball. Caught for a second and then dropped by Copeland, and he's looking for a flag, but none to be seen. Copeland had a step on Lionel Washington, the 11th year vet out of Tulane.
And speaking of the long ball, Tampa Bay showing that they've got the ability to throw the ball deep themselves. Horace Copeland has the ball. Good effort.
Oh, no question. Did you see Washington?
Lionel Washington did what he had to do, is get his hand on that arm and rip that football out. Otherwise, it's a touchdown.
But now there is a flag here on the near side.
Repeat the down. 3rd down.
And it appeared as if I couldn't quite hear him. Too many men on the field for the Raiders. That is, in fact, what the call was. So a 5-yard penalty will bring up a 3rd and 6. Tampa Bay looking to get to the 41 for the first down. Throw set. Erickson to pass. Drills it low. Caught? No. Pass a little too low for Vince Workman to hold. And Workman had run the route for the first down, but couldn't hold on to it.
Workman, the man that they're counting on catching the football and rolling out of that backfield. Erickson doing a good job just keeping from getting sacked. throws the ball just a little bit too low. Workman can't hang on to it.
So Dan Straczynski will come on for his third punt of the afternoon. 7:25 left in the first half. Tampa Bay trailing 14-7. Tim Brown, the dangerous Tim Brown, back at his own 13. Nice job by Straczynski high. And Tim Brown has to signal for the fair catch at the 24. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Raiders at their own 24. A 24-yard punt. But the most important thing, a 4.6 hang time. So we take a look at scores from earlier. Boy, Miami just has problems with Buffalo at home in Miami.
I tell you, that's traditionally they've just not been able to beat Buffalo whenever they're at home. Buffalo, however, you got to give them credit. Everybody's talking about how the Bills are slipping, how they're slipping, but they're still beating people. They're still winning good football games.
And the Oilers clinched the AFC Central Division with that victory over Pittsburgh. Oilers are for real 9 straight victories, and New England picking up a win. 1st and 10 on the ground.
Come on, Randy, come on now.
And Randy Jordan was the ball carrier that time, the rookie out of North Carolina. Coming into the game, Tampa Bay was very pleased to know that Greg Robinson, the outstanding rookie back for the Raiders, would not be playing because he has really put up some very impressive numbers in short duty this season.
Greg Robinson coming in before his injury. He was the leading rookie rusher of all AFC running backs. Of course, the Raiders' running game slowed a little bit by that loss. Napoleon McCallum just now coming back boosts that a little bit.
Gain of only a yard, 2nd and 9. Hostetler with time, complete for the first down. James Jett up near midfield. The rookie out of West Virginia. You know, folks talk about Alexander Wright being the NFL's fastest man. They say this guy, Jett, could take that title any day.
They say James Jett is the fastest guy, hands down, on this football club, which makes it a pretty good bet that he's the fastest guy in the NFL. Something that the Raiders haven't done yet, they haven't run a lot of the seam routes, a lot of the streak routes on the outside, getting up the sidelines. I would expect to see a little bit more of that from here on out.
Out of the I formation, play action, Hostetler with time, complete to Ethan Horton. And Horton, who has a birthday today, 31 years of age, hauls in an 8-yard pass from Jeff Hostetler.
Speaking of those long routes, that was Jeff Hostetler's first choice, was he'd look to the right sideline to pick up the deep ball. It wasn't there, so he checked it down to Horton.
5:35 and counting left in the first half. Raiders marching, ball at the 44 of Tampa Bay. 2nd and 2. The pitch to Jordan. And Jordan looks to be very close. We'll see where the spot is. And this is very close enough to require a measurement, as the officials signal for a timeout down on the field. 4:57 left in the first half. The 4-9 Buccaneers trying to improve their record. The Raiders trying to stay right in the thick of the playoff chase, a record of 8-5.
Taking a good look at that Raiders offensive line there. Number 76, Steve Wisniewski, very good football player. All-pro, of course, for the last few seasons. Very good, very powerful offensive line here. Another look at Gerald Perry, Don Mosbar. This is a very big, very physical offensive line. Of course, that plays right into what the Raiders love. They like those big physical guys.
Boy, San Francisco, talk about really turning it on.
Well, putting the pressure on, just destroying Detroit.
And Kansas City has come back. Had been trailing 10-0 to San Diego. Now a 17-14 ball game there.
As we see clips of that, it's been a very, very physical game. Montana has taken a lot of shots. There have been a lot of rough house, a lot of fighting in that football game.
3rd and short for the Raiders. LA 0 for 2 on 3rd down today. Randy Jordan, Napoleon McCallum, the backs. McCallum, the tailback in the eye. 3rd and 1, call it. McCallum, the ball carrier, has the first down, and there is a flag on the play. And the preliminary signal indicates it's against Tampa.
Offside. Defense, number 23, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That was on Marty Carter, third-year player out of Middle Tennessee State.
Our offsides is right here. Just a little bit early, trying to get the jump on the snap count so he can get off and get that tackle from behind in the neutral zone. That's going to cost him 5 yards.
Randy Jordan in motion on first down for the Raiders. Hostetler, flag on the play. Hostetler decides to run it. And he gets down to the 30. Needed to get to the 28 for the first down. And as I mentioned at the top of the game, Hostetler, the leading rusher in the backfield for the Raiders. And this penalty is going to go against the Raiders.
Holding. Offense, number 65, 10-yard penalty, repeat the down, first down.
And that's against the wily veteran, Max Montoya. And again, Dennis would just make the point coming into the contest today, the Raiders significantly ahead of everyone in terms of number of penalties and yardage. 1,000 yards. Wow.
1,000 yards. James, as we mentioned earlier, take and convert that into yards going the other way, not penalties, but production yards. It'd be a totally different story. You'd have more points on the board if you didn't have so many penalties.
Jet to the near side, first and 20 for the Raiders. Ball at the 48 of Tampa Bay. Nowhere. Nice read of that play. Give the credit to Bernard Wilson, first-year player out of Tennessee State, who stayed with that one. A loss of 2 on the play. And again, Dennis, we talked about Tampa Bay being ranked 22nd in defense, but some pretty good young talent there that Floyd Peters is molding.
Some very good young talent. The defensive line is a very good asset to this football team. Wilson, coming on, is a very good football player. He's been nicked up, beat up a little bit, but a very good football player. They're glad to have him back in the lineup. He's playing very well for them, as he just showed.
Second and 22. Hostetler drilling it deep, complete. And about 4 yards shy of the first down marker, but Rocket Ismail hauls it in.
People make the point that Jeff Hostetler does not have a powerful arm. That's a very powerful throw. Look at this, a frozen rope, and watch the leap on the catch. Rocket just going up, look at that. Wow, what a vertical. Talk about an athlete. Took a couple of good lifts.
Yeah, no kidding.
By the way.
Including Nickerson coming in at the head, but Ismail certainly braced himself. An 18-yard pass play brings up a 3rd and 4. Ball spotted at the 32 of Tampa Bay. Hostetler, good protection this time.
Nice.
No flag on the play. Ball intended for Ethan Horton, and Roger Jones did a nice job of defending on that one.
As we look at the replay, watch Roger Jones coming from the right side of your screen as the ball comes to Horton. Nice play. Just stretches his arms out, bats the football away. Very good athletic play. Very nice keeping his head, knowing what he's got to do.
So Jeff Jager comes on to attempt a field goal. Jeff Gossett holding. This will be a 50-yard field goal attempt. Longest this season, a 53-yarder. Low snap. And it's good. Jeff Jager knocks in a 50-yarder. Give a lot of credit to Jeff Gossett to actually get the handle on that low snap and position it right.
Now, here's the kick. Jeff Jager does a very good job. Watch his left foot, the plant foot. Nice plant there. Comes to very powerful kick. That's his 30th field goal of the season. That's a record for Jeff Jager.
Single season, that's right, and he's only 5 points away now for setting a new single-season scoring record. And again, that would eclipse the legendary Mr. Blanda. 2:32 left in the first half. Los Angeles Raiders on top 17-7. So Tampa Bay doing its best to try to stay competitive here, not let the Raiders get too far ahead.
You know, I got to tell you, the thing that Tampa Bay is doing is they're fighting. They're showing that they've got some spunk. They're not going to let themselves be pushed around.
And Jaeger pushes Charles Wilson 5 yards deep in the end zone, make it 8 yards deep, and he downs it. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the 20 with 2:26 left in the first half. Second quarter's the second best scoring quarter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but not a lot of points. We're talking about 51 points aggregate coming into today's game. Take a look at the numbers for Craig Erickson, and again, on balance, you've been pretty favorably impressed with Craig Erickson.
I think he's done a very good job of showing his poise, in particular in this football game. All the pressure that's been around him, he's done a good job of finding the open wide receiver, which for a young kid, whenever you're under that kind of pressure, it's often very, very difficult to find the second and third wide receiver. And he's done a good job of that, showing his poise.
Well, let me tell you, third game of the season against Chicago, he took a wicked beating in that game, so he certainly has a frame of reference. The handoff to Cobb. And Cobb picks up 4 on the draw. Will bring up a 2nd and 6. James Trapp on the stop.
Reggie does a good job of avoiding Howie Long, who's crashing underneath on that play. He just adjusted his running route and took it to the outside.
Erickson back to pass on 2nd down. A low pass again. The intended receiver was Vince Workman. And again, Erickson plagued with low throws to Mr. Workman. As we are at the 2-minute warning of the first half. Raiders leading Tampa Bay 17-7. 1:50 left in the first half. Tampa Bay trailing 17-7. And Craig Erickson, we talked about that last incomplete low throw to Vince Workman. He's been under some serious pressure today.
Well, James, he's taken more sacks and more hurries on the ball than he's made completions. 7.
There it is. Yeah. And number 7 is operating out of the shotgun. 1 timeout left in the first half here for Tampa Bay. 2 for the Raiders. On 3rd and 6, Erickson. Incomplete. There is a flag on the far side, 28. The intended receiver was Charles Wilson.
Offside. Defense 94. Line up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 3rd down.
That's on Anthony Smith. As Cobb finally stopped by Aaron Wallace, a gain of 6 on the play, 140 and counting left here in the first half of play. You know, Dennis, we talked about the nicks and bruises that Reggie Cobb has and Nickerson, but again, that's expected around this time of the year.
Well, you play so many football games, those things are going to happen to you. You just got to deal with it, take care of your body when you can.
Erickson. Oh! Whoa, what a play! Caught by Courtney Hawkins. Now, will they allow it, or was it down? Wow, Derek Hoskins nearly had the interception, but Hawkins came up with it. Will they give him credit for it?
The Raiders once again failing to capitalize on the opportunities for interceptions. Hits Derek Hoskins right in the hands. Courtney Hawkins, a great presence of mind to come and catch a football.
Oh, that's a catch.
That is a catch.
But there is a flag, a late flag in the backfield of Tampa Bay.
All that excitement for naught.
And it was a holding call on Tampa. Boy, what a great highlight play, but all for naught.
It was fun anyways.
Yeah, that it was. No question. 1:13 left in a half. Tampa Bay trailing 17-7. 4 wides. Charles Wilson in motion. On 1st and 20 on the ground. And a good run by Mazio Royster, who takes it up to the 32, regaining about 6. Tampa Bay needs to get to the 45 for a first down.
Once again, Tampa Bay in an attempt.
Raiders burn a timeout, leaving them with 1, and the Bucs have 1. Sam White trying to see if he can close the half with some points. 17-7 ball game, 1:04 left in the first half. Both teams 1 timeout apiece remaining. Ball is spotted at the 31 of Tampa. Second and 14. Erickson throws it up near the first down marker as it's caught by Courtney Hawkins. Forward progress should have it about 2 yards shy of the first down marker, and that's where it's spotted. 47 seconds and counting, the 13-yard pass play. Erickson. First down, Copeland at the 45 of the Raiders. Both teams, 1 timeout apiece remaining, 31 seconds and counting. Intended receiver Courtney Hawkins, who would have liked to have caught that one and taken it out of bounds. Michael Husted, longest field goal this year for him, a 54-yarder. Trying to get in range with 26 seconds remaining.
If you play only for the field goal, James, you need to work that ball down to around the 35-yard line. You've got 26 seconds left. I've got to think that's not going to be their only philosophy just to get the field goal, but they're going to try and move the ball on a good chunk of yardage right here.
2nd and 10, 4 wideouts in for the Bucs. And complete to Royster, who takes it out of bounds inside the 40. Mazio Royster, who picked up his first touchdown last week.
Good play calling there. Get the ball to Mazio Royster. Get him out of bounds. Stop the clock. That way you don't have to worry about taking another timeout.
Ball is now spotted at the 39. Going up a 3rd and 4, Dennis.
Once again, on the sidelines, Husted getting ready. All he needs is about another 5 yards to get to within a zone that he knows that he can hit the ball. He can make the field goal if they get 5 more yards.
Wilson in motion. 4 wideouts again. Erickson to the left. Intended receiver was Lamar Thomas, being defended by James Trapp. 17 seconds remaining in the first half.
I would continue to play, obviously, what Tampa Bay is going to do. They've got plenty of time. 4th down.
So would you, again,
I would play.
You would play?
Yeah, absolutely. This is what Tampa Bay is going to do. Right now, they're at a feeling of kind of go for broke. Now Sam White wants to talk about it.
And he signals for a timeout, leaving Tampa with none. So this would be about a 56, 57-yard field goal attempt if Husted is able to talk Sam White into it.
Yeah, Sam White's not liking what he saw on the defense, the way they lined up. Did not like the coverage that he saw, so he called the timeout. Let's talk it over, fellas.
And where they are now, this is about a 57-yarder, Dennis, with 17 seconds remaining.
He's got the power if he gets a nice, good punch on the football here, Jay.
And no wind to contend with.
That's right.
Husted for 57-yarder.
He's got it.
A 57-yard field goal booted by Michael Husted, his longest this season.
Wow.
And Tampa Bay adds more points on the scoreboard.
That's an impressive kick. You know you've got some offensive weapons whenever you've got a place kicker that can come in and bang it in from 57 yards out. Very nice job. Now we take a wide shot of the kick. Good punch right there, just what he needed. He didn't get the ball too high in the air. He got a nice punch on it, nice good trajectory, and it goes through.
Well, Michael Husted won the argument on the sidelines, convincing the staff to allow him to try it. and boots a 57-yarder.
Wow.
Wow, so Michael Hostetler really feeling awfully good. You know, Donald Wike, who used to be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, previously had the record of 55 yards, and that young man out of Clemson certainly was pretty doggone accurate, but Hostetler now has his name firmly imprinted in the record books for Tampa Bay.
Much like the imprint that he left on the football to get that 57
No doubt
yards.
about it. Obviously have to make use of a different ball now. Wow. Yeah, he's feeling it. Rocket Ismail will down it. 10 seconds remaining in the first half, and the Raiders, a little pushing and shoving going on out there on the field. Demetrius DeBose, and they're throwing some punches. Well, again, we talked about Tampa Bay trying to establish a little territorial right, if you will, at the top of the game, and they're not backing down.
They're certainly not backing down. You like to see that from a football team like this. Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming in, trying to establish with the Raiders, hey, we're not going to be pushed around today. We're going to fight back. We're going to initiate some of that. That being evidenced by Buckley on the opening play. He's a special teams player. What he does is block. He's not even a wide receiver, just to knock people around.
Greg and Terry coming up at halftime to bring you up to date on all the scores and highlights around the National Football League. That'll be coming up at the end of the first half here. And as we wrap up what was a pretty good half indeed, that's the end of the first half, and the Raiders leading Tampa Bay by a touchdown, 17-10. Greg and Terry up next. 17-10, the Raiders lead the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as we get set to start the third quarter of action here at the LA Memorial Coliseum. Can you believe it? LA Raiders only 11 yards on the ground. Boy, do they miss the young man Robinson. Nick Bell only 7 yards, 4 carries, 7 yards. And Tampa Bay 22nd in the league against the rush. So, boy, that certainly isn't speaking well of the Raiders' ground game.
Well, I'll tell you what, they certainly do miss the running game in this football game. But what they've been doing is passing. They've got 119 yards in the half, doing pretty well. They've got a touchdown out of it. So it's kind of off balance. We knew coming into this football game that the Raiders were going to pass more, but we certainly didn't know that their running game was going to be as anemic as it has been.
Well, Tampa Bay has certainly done the job in terms of time of possession, controlling the ball nearly 20 minutes to the Raiders' 10:57. And now if Sam White can just get his charges to put a few more points on the board, statistically things are certainly looking Tampa Bay's way, with the exception of on the scoreboard where they trail the Raiders 17-10. But what have you seen about Tampa Bay's play that you liked in the first half?
Well, what I like so far is the time of possession. They've kept the Raider offense off of the field, which is what you've got to do when you've got that big play threat, guys that can go downfield. That's what Tampa Bay has impressed me with so far. Also, the running of Reggie Cobb. He's been doing a very good job finding the holes.
And going back to another point that we talked about at the top of the game, the Raiders' inability to handle prosperity when they are ahead, the inability to put teams away. Craig Erickson has been up under all kinds of pressure, but can the Raiders do a better job of really just putting the foot down on Tampa?
They're going to have to. What they're going to have to do is get the turnovers. They've missed the opportunity. Hoskins missed an interception. McDaniels missed an interception. Those are the things that Art Shell is talking about that's driving him nuts. Get those things, get those interceptions, and that's how you put the stamp on people's throats.
Raiders receiving the second half kickoff, and Rocket Ismail downs it. Will be first and 10 for the Raiders at their own 20. Jeff Hostetler had himself a very decent first half indeed. 8 of 11 for 119 yards, 1 touchdown. Craig Erickson up under a lot of pressure, but again, he handled it pretty well.
I'm impressed with the way Craig Erickson has handled it. Been under a ferocious pass rush from that front four of the Los Angeles Raiders and has performed admirably.
On first down, Hostetler finds Timmy Brown, and Tim Brown with only his second catch of the afternoon.
This game is presented by the authority of the National Football League, and this CBS telecast is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of CBS, the Los Angeles Raiders, and the National Football League is prohibited.
9-yard pass play from Hostetler to Tim Brown brings up a 2nd and 1 for the Raiders. Ball marked at the 29. The draw. Bell. And Bell bulls his way across the 30 for the first down. Hardy Nickerson, the first there to hit him. And there is a Tampa Bay Buck player down on the ground, and Nick Bell is a big back to be falling on you. Listed at 6'2", about 250. He may be a bit more. Not as big as Craig Hayward.
Well, certainly not as big as Craig Hayward. You're talking about a Mack truck and a train, locomotive. But a big back nonetheless. They're tough to drag down. It appears the injured player is Jerry Gray. It appears what he was revving is he got a hip pointer. And here comes the block. Bell just really ran him over and knocked him aside. It appears that he's... Yeah, I tell you, there's probably about a 50-pound weight differential between the two.
First down, Hostetler under pressure. Santana Dotson picking up his 5th sack of the season. And Santana Dotson is certainly the possessor of an awful lot of skills, and Floyd Peters would like to see him display it consistently.
I'll tell you, from inside the left tackle there, Santana Dotson he's a very, very talented football player. He was, of course, the defensive rookie of the year last year. Very, very talented football player.
And comes from some good bloodlines. Alphonse Dotson, of course, who played for the Raiders. It's now a 2nd and 17. Ball is spotted at the 24. Hostetler with time drills it complete to Alexander Wright. And Wright tackled by Marty Carter and Jimmy Williams. Or make that Nickerson. There's Jimmy Williams down up underneath.
Hardy Nickerson, a very active linebacker all over the field. That's what makes him such a plus in this Tampa Bay defense. He's a very intelligent football player as well, which goes good for an inside linebacker. He's very smart. He knows what teams are going to do and how they're going to try and attack that defensive secondary. I like to see that pursuit that Hardy Nickerson has.
3rd and 8 from the 33. 12:44 left in the 3rd. Raiders on top, 17-10. Hostetler dumps it to Ethan Horton, and Horton rumbles his way up. We'll see where the spot is, but it looks like he may be about 6 inches shy, but looks like he gets a pretty favorable spot here. Mark Wheeler finally hustled him down. That looked like a very good spot there, Dennis. Very good spot.
Once again, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers doing a good job of confusing Jeff Hostetler. They drop the 2 inside tackles out again, which takes the first read away from Hostetler, and all he has left is to dump the ball off to Ethan Horton. Ethan does a good job of just getting upfield. We're going to take a look at the spot right now. It appears he's just short, about 6 inches short of the first down.
Still short, but on that replay that we saw, his elbow with the ball actually hit just at the 40. So either way, he still came up with a very favorable spot.
That's correct.
But not enough for the first down, obviously. So Jeff Gossett comes on for the Raiders to punt it away, and standing back at his own 19 is Courtney Hawkins of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Believe it or not, that's an important boost for this Tampa Bay football club to have the defense make the stand there and not allow the first down and the drive to continue by the Raiders.
Hawkins averaging 11.5 yards per punt return, his longest a 35-yarder. Late flag thrown at the far side 41, and Hawkins lets it roll into the end zone, but there is a flag on the far side 41. And And Bernard Wilson, I'm wondering if, in fact, that's the man they spotted being off.
Tell you what, that is a big mistake. That would give the Los Angeles Raiders the first down. As I had mentioned earlier, it was a very important drive for them to stop. Boy, that is a very costly penalty for Tampa Bay.
Offside, defense, number 96, 5-yard penalty, first down.
And, in fact, it was Bernard Wilson.
Bernard Wilson right here, right over the center. We're going to see him jump off sides. That is a very costly penalty for Tampa Bay, one that I seriously doubt they'll be able to make up.
So the drive stays alive for the Raiders. 11:58 left in the third quarter. Hostetler back to pass. Down he goes. Get it going. Sack. Buccaneers on the job. Mark Wheeler apparently was the first to get there. His second sack of the season.
The defense really stepping up. We take a look at Wheeler here, the right defensive tackle. Look at that. Nice club move to get back to the outside and just presses it up the field. Grabs hold of Hostetler for the sack.
You see the numbers on sacks allowed today for both teams. 2nd and 15 for the Raiders. Jordan, the ball carrier, but there is a flag in the middle of the field at about the 44. And this will go against the Raiders.
With this running game, Jeff, of the Los Angeles Raiders, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are doing a good job spreading it to the sidelines, making them get horizontal yardage, which of course doesn't count.
Offense, number 88, 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down, second down.
You know, I can't help but tease with you because I know you played so often with Jeff Lageman, but is my hair as long as Jeff's?
You're not as handsome as Jeff is, James.
I've never been accused of being handsome, rest assured. Guys, 2nd and 25 for the Raiders. 3 wide receivers. And Nick Bell taking it across the 40, but nowhere near enough. 13 yards regained on the play. Will bring up a 3rd and 12. LA Memorial Coliseum here in Los Angeles, California, the site of today's contest between the playoff hopeful Raiders and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Raiders on top 17-10, 10:33 left in the third quarter of play. James Brown along with Dennis Byrd. Hostetler, a lot of time short of the first down marker by about 7 yards. Ethan Horton so Jeff Gossett on to punt for the Raiders.
Take a look at this. Tampa Bay defense does a good job of being physical in here. Watch these bumps, just getting in there, taking that speed away from these guys. That was Roger Jones getting a nice bump on the wide receiver there. That's what Tampa Bay has to do. Once again, the Tampa Bay defense rises to the occasion, stops the Raiders, and forces them to punt the ball.
Gossett to punt. Hawkins back. And the ball will be down at about the 14 of Tampa Bay by Dan Land. 40-yard punt, Tampa Bay ball when we come back. First and 10, Tampa Bay from its own 14 on the ground. Cobb, Reggie Cobb across the 20 to about the 21. A gain of 7 by Reggie Cobb will bring up a 2nd and 3. Reggie Cobb, although again, not 100% running well, and I think important for Tampa to continue to move that ball effectively on the ground.
Continue to keep possession of the football. They've done a good job of that so far this game, and to get some points, obviously. But it's critical, time of possession. They need to keep the Raiders offense off the field.
2nd and 3. Copeland in motion. This is Cobb. And Cobb stuffed. Dropped. Chester McLaughlin. A loss on a play of about 3. And San Francisco continuing to pound Detroit.
Tampa Bay had been doing a good job of stretching this defense, then cutting the football back. What they did right there is they ran the ball front side, they stayed front side, and there was no daylight. The Raiders defense stopped them dead for a loss of 3. They need to continue to stretch and cut the football back against the grain, get that Raiders defense to overflow.
3rd and 6. Big play here for the Buccaneers. Erickson launching the home run ball for Hawkins. By Courtney Hawkins. Wow. What a catch and adjustment by Hawkins. Wow. That was awesome. A 48-yard pass play, and give a lot of credit to Erickson also adjusting under pressure.
Well, look at Courtney Hawkins. He beats double coverage. He gets to the outside. The safety comes over top. And here you'll see the safety coming in there. Courtney Hawkins just wins this battle. He goes up and gets the football. I tell you what, that's all Courtney Hawkins there. Of course, Erickson had to avoid the rush by Aaron Wallace and get the ball off. But goodness, give Courtney Hawkins a credit. A wonderful, wonderful big play.
Out battling Eddie Anderson and Lionel Washington. Cobb. Wow. No go for Cobb. A loss of about 1 on the play there. We'll call it 2.
The Raiders defense just stringing that ball out. Howie Long coming up in there and just laying the wood to Reggie Cobb. What a shot.
And a little help from Joe Kelly as well. Well, you know, Sam White last week talked about in the euphoria after the game, the victory over Chicago, that this Tampa Bay squad would be in the playoffs next year. He amended that to say they will be a serious contender, but you're seeing signs of that now.
Yes, we certainly are seeing signs of that. Very competitive football team right now.
2nd and 11. The draw to Cobb. And Cobb did not have much daylight to operate with, as he does get 2. And even signs like this with the Bucs battling back with the Raiders trying to intimidate, a good sign as well.
Well, I'll tell you, the Buccaneers, James, on paper, in statistical categories, they're competing very well or beating the Los Angeles Raiders. Time of possession, a big key. They're just not leading on the scoreboard. Tampa Bay playing very competitive, very good football right now against a very talented Raider defense and offense.
Sam White seeing his running back Reggie Cobb work hard this afternoon. 18 carries, 44 yards. 3rd and 9. Erickson looking for Copeland, incomplete. Terry McDaniel. I'm sure Copeland heard the hoof of McDaniel right on top of him. So Michael Hostetler will come on to attempt the field goal. The rookie out of Virginia has a career best already of 57 yards. This will be a 49-yard field goal attempt by Michael Hostetler. Straczynski, the holder. And this is going to be off the mark. Michael Hostetler, no good on the 49-yarder. Still a 17-10 Raiders lead. 17-10 ball game, and Dennis Burge, you mentioned very crucial points that Tampa could have put on the board. Tampa Bay and came up short on that 49-yard field goal attempt.
Well, you know, as it is, a touchdown only ties the football game. The Raiders, if they move the ball, kick the field goal, it makes it very difficult for the Buccaneers to make up those points.
Randy Jordan, the ball carrier for the Raiders. And what initially looked as if it was going to wind up being a loss on that play, Randy Jordan runs hard and picks up 1 yard on the play. Tell you, the Raiders have really been experiencing futility on the ground. 14 yards rushing. Wow, 10 yards in the first quarter, only 1 yard in the second quarter, 3 thus far in the third quarter with 6:05 left in the third.
You talk about that dominating front for the Raiders. I'll tell you what, this has been a dominating front for the Buccaneers.
On 2nd and 9, Ethan Horton catches it, but he's about 2 yards shy of the first down marker. Well, the futility on the ground for the Raiders certainly coincided with the injury to their outstanding rookie out of Northeast Louisiana, Greg Robinson there. Before being sidelined, he was the leading rusher of all rookies in the AFC. You see the numbers there, 591 yards.
Very talented young running back. Very good moves along with explosive power. He's 5'10", 205 pounds. A very good running back. He's something that the Raiders need in this backfield right now. Something that they're not quite getting the production out of that running backfield that they would like to have.
And Jeff Hostetler signals for a timeout on 3rd and 1 for the Raiders. Raiders are 0 for 5 on third down conversions. Hostetler wants to talk it over.
We take a look at Floyd Peters, the defensive coordinator for the Buccaneers, just telling his defensive people, keep the pressure on, let's keep it going. They're playing very good defensive football, and he doesn't want them to let up. He's got to tell them, put the pressure on. You got to get these guys stopped to get that offense back on the field.
He understands the importance of this 3rd and 1 situation. Raiders 0 for 5 on third down conversions on a play action. And Hostetler overthrows the intended receiver, James Jett. Joe King back with Ricky Reynolds on the coverage.
Wouldn't you think that's kind of hard to do, James?
Yeah, no kidding.
Overthrow James Jett.
And a little behind him. Well, Hostetler will be the first to tell you that this is certainly the most talent he's ever worked with in the wide receiving corps. As we take a look at Al Davis, the owner of the Raiders.
And that's why you see the most talent. Al Davis, he'll take anybody that can run under a 4.140. And for that matter, he'll take anybody with a prison record to play on this football team.
He likes them aggressive. Jeff Gossett punting from his own 30. Courtney Hawkins will field it at the 13. Hawkins looking for an opening and gets it back to about the 20. Dan Land, who has been very active in special teams play with the tackle, 47-yard punt. Well-known logo throughout the National Football League, a very popular one indeed, the Los Angeles Raiders here at the LA Memorial Coliseum. Thus far, that's been a pretty good combination indeed. 17-10, Raiders lead at 4:59 left in the third. On first down, Cobb looking for some daylight. Finds it on the right side for about 3 yards. And Cobb really has been working hard for what yardage he does have. 19 carries, 47 yards. And again, initially, there was no daylight to the left for him at all.
I tell you, that's the one thing that Reggie Kopp has been doing throughout this football game is cutting the football back. The Tampa Bay offensive line is what's called a zone blocking scheme. They all move and try and stretch that defense out, and it's up to Reggie Kopp to either hit the whole front side or cut it back to daylight.
2nd and 7. Erickson drills it complete to Copeland for the first down. Horace Copeland hauls in the pass from Erickson. And with 4:13 and counting, Tampa trying to march. Derek Hoskins on the tackle. Ball spotted at the 35, 1st and 10 out of the I formation for Tampa Bay. Under pressure, gets rid of it. Complete to Cobb for the first down. Now, in the old days of not too far ago, that would have been in the grass, but instead Erickson liberalized rule, got rid of it. A 15-yard pass play for the first down.
The rule this year, James, he's in the grass, but there is no danger of another lineman or another defensive personnel hitting Erickson. So therefore, he can still throw the football, and it is not down by grass. Reggie Cobb, great job catching the football, but let me tell you, this young kid, Craig Erickson, fantastic job of keeping his poise and getting the football to Reggie Cobb.
You don't think Willie Broughton is upset about that rule?
I'm sure he is.
On 1st and 10, on the ground, Mazio Royster. And Royster barely across midfield. 1 yard picked up on a play. Royster certainly looking for a big afternoon. He would like nothing better than to show well back in his old stomping ground. Second-year player out of USC.
Of course, he had his first touchdown last week against the Chicago Bears, Mazio Royster. A good, very talented young running back.
You saw the numbers there, how the game has changed. Tampa Bay doing a nice job in the total yards department. But Nolan Harrison doing a better job in roping and yanking Mazio Royster back. Royster took offense to that, and again, you like the spunk. But then again, I don't know if I'm going to get a remark out of you, an ex-defensive player. I'm sure you'd really like what Nolan Harrison did defensively.
Tell you what, Nolan Harrison does a good job just overpowering, getting upfield. That's the one thing this Raider defense does so well, is get upfield and disrupt plays. He just strangleholds Mazio Royster right there and just says, get back here.
3rd and 11. Erickson to Workman, and Workman tried to get up near the first down marker, run out of bounds about 3 yards shy. And whose helmet was ripped off that time? Is that still Royster going at it? Royster and Harrison still going at it, as Anthony Smith, the big right end for the Raiders, tried to talk to Royster and calm him down. Well, Sam White's indicated he was looking for his team to be a lot tougher, a lot more physical in this game, and he gets it.
That's the best pass of the game right there, James. Look at that. That's got to be about a 40-yard shot put.
And what we don't see also is how Royster is doing his best to get over there, but you can see Anthony Smith saying, hey, look here, man. Please, this guy's crazy. Leave him alone.
I assure you, a man that big, I would not be chasing him without a helmet. I wouldn't chase him with a helmet.
Dan Straczynski's punt. Fair caught by Tim Brown at the 13. 1:14 left in the third. Back with more after this.
And we're back with the California version of the Los Angeles Raiders Santa Claus. The LA Raiders on top of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 1:14 left to play in the third quarter.
Sam White's understandably upset, Dennis, because we talked about that last sequence there with the helmet of Royster being thrown, but the no call was probably a bad call.
That's probably the biggest thing about that. Nolan Harrison throwing the helmet, that goes right along the lines of taunting, unsportsmanlike conduct. I tell you, that should have been a penalty.
1st and 10 for the Raiders, and Bell finally hit by Marty Carter. A gain of 2 on a play will bring up a 2nd and 8, and Tampa Bay's secondary will be operating without Jerry Gray, who was out with a groin injury, and Martin Mayhew as well is out with a strained hip. So Tampa Bay's secondary will really be tested here. And again, coming into the game, Sam White was looking to try to contain the Raiders and that speedy wide receiving core from big plays.
I assure you, the Raiders coaching staff knows exactly about that loss of the 2 starting defensive backs. And as a matter of fact, here we go.
On 2nd and 8, a flag on the play as Tim Brown catches it and takes it up to about the 23. And I'm wondering if that flag, Hostetler is indicating us against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Illegal to the hands, defense, number 77, hands to the face, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That that against Mark Wheeler, the second-year player out of Texas A&M. Well, Dennis, you mentioned that again, the secondary, minus those two key players, will certainly be severely tested. Thus far, only one big play that has burned the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that being Alexander Wright, the 27-yard touchdown preceded by a 47-yard pass play. But the Buccaneers have done a pretty good job of keeping the big plays in check.
In this game and in the 3 games prior to this football game, they've done a real good job of not allowing the big play. Without Mayhew and Gray, you can bet that the Raiders are going to test that and try and go deep.
On 1st and 10, Hostetler looking up top, has a wide open man, Wright. Flag on the play. Wright being defended by Milton Mack. And there is a flag on the play, a 48-yard pass play, but we'll await the result.
Illegal contact. Defense number 21. Penalty is declined. First down.
And that was on Milton Mack, and we just got finished talking about the big plays.
Watch this double move. The wide receiver fakes to stop for the route. Milton Mack totally falls for the play. Alexander Wright gets down the sidelines. Had that ball been thrown on time and deep enough, that would have been a touchdown. No doubt about it.
We would call that a shake and bake move in basketball, but very good indeed. And that's the end of the third quarter with the score. Raiders on top 17-10. Our coverage will continue after this message from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Final 15 minutes of the contest upcoming. Raiders on top 17-10. As we take a look at some of the receivers who have burned Tampa Bay's secondary, and very elite group indeed.
You are talking about the elitist group. Sharp, Carter, Rice. Wow, you're talking Rice. You're talking about a fantastic group.
Alexander Wright with 6 catches for 114 yards thus far. Hostetler drills it complete. Nice haul in with a horde of white shirts around Tim Brown. And Tim Brown was telling us yesterday he has absolutely no problems going across the middle. That a 12-yard haul in for a first down.
You know, he actually likes going over the middle, does a very good job. He got accustomed to that at Notre Dame, coming across the middle, going up and getting the football. You take a look at Tim Brown, he is not afraid to go up and reach for the football. A lot of wide receivers, when they go across the middle, their vertical goes to about as high as a pizza box and their arms get real short.
Alligator arms,
They
no
don't
doubt.
Yeah.
On first down, McCallum inside the 25 to about the 24. Ethan Horton doing a nice job of blocking along the way. Well, we saw the elite core of receivers who've done a job against Tampa Bay. Alexander Wright, first 100-yard receiving day as a Raider. With the Dallas Cowboys, he certainly enjoyed some very good games. Total 10 catches for 170 yards against Detroit before. So he's adding to his numbers nicely here. 2nd and 5. Bell and McCallum, the backs. Bell in motion. Hostetler with all kinds of time. Flag on the play as Milton Mack batted down a ball that was intended for James Jett.
Holding. Defense number 54. 5-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That against the veteran Jimmy Williams, a 12-year linebacker out of Nebraska.
Well, whenever you're a linebacker going against speed, the type that James Jett has, sometimes the best thing you can do is just hold him, prevent the touchdown.
I think so.
They'll take the penalty instead of the 7 points.
First and 10. Inside the 20 of Tampa Bay. Hostetler looking for Jett. Oh! Out of bounds. Milton Mack on the coverage.
James Jett, regardless whether he would have had 2 feet in, he wasn't even close. He didn't have possession of the football. A valiant effort by James Jett of really laying his body out to make the catch. Just not enough.
Boy, great sequence there. Mack right there as well. Good effort on James Jett's part.
Good effort on Mack's part, just staying step for step with Jett. That's a tough route to defend, especially when you have that kind of speed, James. That fade route.
And you better believe that Milton Mack was pleased to know that he had the end line, the out-of-bounds line as a defender helping him. First and 10. Tim Brown in motion. McCallum, the ball carrier, runs into a wall. And Hardy Nickerson will make that Bernard Wilson the bottom of the pile, holding on to that foot for dear life. Good effort on Bernard Wilson's part.
Wilson doing all he can to hang on. Napoleon McCallum doing all he can to get the extra inches out. Tell you what, this is just a battle. They're scraping and scratching and just fighting and clawing for everything they can get both sides. I really like it whenever there's this much competition in a football game. You've got to give it to that young Tampa Bay defensive line that really performed well.
2nd and 7 from the 10 of Tampa Bay. Hostetler. Looking for Jett again, who can't hold on to it, and Ricky Reynolds applies the hit on him nonetheless.
Ricky Reynolds on the coverage.
12:31 left in the ball game. Tampa Bay trailing the Raiders 17-10.
Well, that just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how much speed you've got, every now and then you're going to get pelted. He took a shot there. Reynolds with a nice hit.
Again, the Raiders with a record of 8-5, one of 8 teams fighting for 6 playoff spots in the AFC, cannot afford a loss in its remaining games. Tampa Bay with a record of 4-9, looking for respectability. 3rd and 7. And mass confusion in terms of what to run, so Jeff Hostetler calls a timeout, leaving the Raiders with 1. Tampa Bay has 3 timeouts remaining. Alexander Wright, 6 receptions, 104 yards. As we mentioned, first 100-yard receiving day as a Raider. But more importantly, the Raiders with a 3rd and 3 at the 10. Will make it a 3rd and 7 at the 10-yard line, and ahead 17-10 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And the Raiders have yet to score since the 3rd quarter, and kind of ties back in with what we were talking about, inability to put teams away, Dennis.
I tell you, that's been the specter for the Los Angeles Raiders this entire football season. They have not learned as a team how to put people out whenever they're ahead. This right here will prove to them, will prove to Art Shell that they're coming out of that they're learning how to do that. We'll see what they can do.
On 3rd and 7, Hostetler with time, plenty of time. Good defensive coverage by the Buccaneers, and a flag on the play. Roderick Thomas was the one applying the pressure on Jeff Hostetler, and the preliminary signal is against the Raiders.
Offense, number 68. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
That against Bruce Wilkerson. So Jeff Jager comes on to see if he can add 3 for the Raiders. This will be a 28-yard field goal attempt by Jeff Jager. And it's good, so the Raiders, there is a flag on the near side, 14.
Holding. Offense, number 88. 10-yard penalty. Repeat the down. 4th down.
Boy, not executing very nicely here, that against Ethan Horton.
Once again, playing into the themes that have been plaguing the Raiders all year, getting down here, penalties, miscues, just not able to put people away. We see Ethan Horton just grabbing a hold of Ricky Reynolds here and pulling him down.
So this will make it a 38-yarder, Dennis. Jaeger 5 points away from establishing the single-season scoring record. And there is yet another flag, although Jaeger booted that one good.
Yes, there is
flag
another
at
flag.
the 19.
Holding. Defense, number 70. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I tell you, now there's a question that you've got to ask. Do you take the points off the board? You know, there's an old philosophy in coaching that you never, ever take the points off the board. But here is opportunity for the Raiders to get a touchdown. I tell you, that's a risky call. I would personally would have stuck with the points on the board.
Oh, you would have.
Tampa Bay's defense is playing well. They've held them already.
Okay. That was a 6th first down accomplished by way of penalty for the Raiders as we look at Napoleon McCallum.
Handoff to Napoleon McCallum.
And no gain on the play by McCallum. Hardy Nickerson leading the charge.
It appears
tackle there.
It appears the Raiders are going to have to get down there with something other than their running game, which has been very anemic this entire football game. The front four for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been playing it very well the entire game. Taking the points off the board could come back to haunt our shell.
11:40 and counting left in the ball game. Raiders on top 17-10. 24 yards total on the ground for the Raiders. To embellish your point, Dennis. Hostetler with time. Drills it incomplete. Intended receiver was Ethan Horton. And Milton Mack nearly had himself a pick.
Well, James, back to my original point. Right there, Milton Mack catches that football. The Raiders lose 3 points. Back to the old maxim that you never take points off the board. Here's why. Right there, Milton Mack. Oh, an opportunity to steal 3 points from the Raiders, just to take it back.
Third and 10, ball at the 15. Hostetler, 16 of 23 for 220 yards. Raiders 0 for 7 third down conversions. Incomplete. Nice defensive job by Ricky Reynolds, who got a hand in there. Intended receiver was Tim Brown. 11:16 left in the ball game. Tampa Bay trailing by 7.
Reynolds just gets a hand in here on Tim Brown. Does a good job being patient, not pass interference against Tim Brown, but just coming over the top. Nice little athletic move to knock the football away. Good job.
And yet again, Jaeger will attempt a field goal. This one will be for 33. And another flag on the play. Wow. Dan Turk indicating against Tampa Bay.
Offside. Defense, number 29. Running into the kicker. Defense, number 29. Penalty is declined. Field goal is good.
So the points will stand here.
The points will stand here. And it will be assessed on the kickoff.
Well, the points stand, as Dennis Bird indicated. Back in a moment. Back to live action. 11-11 left in the ball game. Tampa Bay trailing the Raiders 20-10. Charles Wilson from the goal line slips and falls and is touched at the 13. First and 10 from the 13 for the Bucs. Dave Moore in motion. McLaughlin across the line and flags on the play.
Start. Offense, number 76, simulating the start of a play. 5 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
That on Scott Deal as we take a look at the AFC playoff picture as of the moment. Raiders doing their best to stay in contention here. 8 teams fighting for 6 playoff spots. And believe it or not, your Jets are still in the picture.
Yeah, imagine that. I'll tell you, they've been playing very dismal offense.
I tell you, it's a hot Houston team.
Thank you.
That is heading toward the playoffs now. It's victory over Pittsburgh today.
Houston now, James, fighting for home team advantage. They're obviously in the playoffs. Now their big goal is to get the home field advantage. They like to keep the fans in the game.
First and 15 from the 8. Erickson looking for Hall. Complete to Ron Hall. Regaining 10 of those yards. Tampa Bay needs to get up to the 23 for the first down.
The veteran Lionel Washington is out of the game. Maybe quarterback Craig Erickson can take advantage of the lack of veteran experience now in the Raiders secondary.
Lionel Washington out with a hip injury. Cobb fighting to get to the 23. Fumble! Did the Raiders recover? It looks as if they did.
They did.
With 10-19 left in the ball game, Andre Bruce comes up with the fumble recovery.
And that is what I would consider putting the stranglehold on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Art Shell will be very pleased with his defense on this particular opportunity. Now Reggie Cobb here just struggling for the extra yards. The smart thing that the Raiders do is they work on stripping that football out. Very smart football by the Raiders, and of course they recover it. Andre Bruce, the previous first-round pick from 4 years ago.
Eddie Anderson doing a good job of working on that ball, but take a look at Torrin Dorn as he smacked at the ball.
You know, I don't think that the Buccaneers are very pleased with that call. I think they were complaining that there was a whistle blown. Nonetheless, the Raiders have the ball.
At the 16 of Tampa Bay, Hostetler. Intended receiver was James Jett. Joe King was back there, along with Milton Mack. Now again, you're thinking, Dennis, that the forward progress had been stopped and the whistle should have blown?
Yeah, Reggie Cobb once again trying to get to the first down, but his forward progress is obviously stopped. The play should have been whistle dead. I think that's what the Buccaneers were complaining, that the play was dead, but the Raiders still come up with the ball.
2nd and 10 from the 16 of Tampa Bay. Under pressure, Hostetler throws it quickly. The blitz was on as Barney Bussey was speeding in on Jeff Hostetler.
This is obviously a situation, a position on the field where you expect to see blitzes. What the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Floyd Peters in this defense would like to do is obviously restrict them once again to just 3 points instead of a touchdown. And they do that by adding the pressure.
Darren Anderson.
It's interesting to point out,
along with Roger Jones in the secondary now.
Interesting, you have less area to cover as a defensive secondary, so you can afford to bring an extra guy off the corner.
Raiders caught by Ismail at the 2. First down, Raiders. Ball will be spotted at the 1.
Nice little jump by the Rocket. Gets his 2 feet in, then he heads for the seats.
A 15-yard pass play, Hostetler to Rocket Ismail, and it'll be first and goal for the Raiders. Ball at the 1. McCallum, the tailback, out of the I formation. Wild leg by Hostetler. Touchdown, Raiders. leader in the AFC in that category.
Wow, what a tremendous fake here. Everybody's eyes are going to the middle of the screen. They think the dive is going over the middle. Hardy Nickerson is just busting up in there to disrupt this play. And quarterback Jeff Hostetler runs it out. 5 touchdowns for the quarterback Jeff Hostetler. That's usually something that you see out of a quarterback like Steve Young or Randall Cunningham. Jeff Hostetler doing a good job of rushing with the ball.
First Raider quarterback to do such, run for 5 touchdowns in a season. And Jeff Jager now 2 points away. And let me correct myself, Dennis Bird. Jeff Jager has now tied George Blanda with 117 points as the scoring leader, single season scoring leader for the Raiders. Next point after a field goal, Jager will have it all to himself.
Of course, George Blanda, a legend in the game of football and a legend here with the Los Angeles Raiders. That's quite a milestone for Jager.
Jeff Hostetler ought to be pretty pleased with the way things have gone for him today.
He should be very pleased. He's had a very good performance. Once again, establishing, in my opinion, his toughness as a quarterback. A very tough, very dedicated quarterback. I like to see him have his success.
Well, now, Dennis, I've got to be quite honest as we take a look at Hostetler. He's a bit more extroverted there in terms of his actions than he was in our conversation yesterday. And little did I know the reason he was so standoffish was because one Dennis Bird greeted him rather rudely when you were on the playing field.
I didn't think you would bring that up, James. He was a little quiet in our meeting yesterday. Of course, who knows, it could have been because of the hit I put on him in Giant Stadium last season that put him out for 4 games. Cost me $3,000 in fines.
But now, as nice a guy as I've come to know you as being, finish the story now. The officials thought you were actually taunting him as well.
Yes, they did.
Oh, listen to him. Yes, they did. That was it, huh? That's the embellishment, huh?
I would never do that. A fine quarterback, James.
Yeah, well, see, I didn't know any better until our director, Craig Silver, had come in to ask why Hostetler was so quiet. Well, the net effect of all of that, we'll find out exactly which player was thrown out of the game. The extracurriculars have been ongoing here, and although Sam Weich's team trails 27-10 with 10 minutes and 1 second remaining, I guess this is what he was looking for. He was looking for his guys to step up to the plate and be more physical.
Physical, yeah, but don't get cooked out of a football game. That only hurts his football club.
And it looks like it was Hardy Nickerson.
Oh, no.
Hometown guy.
Oh, goodness.
And the only tough thing about that is some of the fans in the stands have gotten caught up in the action as well.
Here's why. Steve Wisniewski, there was a fight after the extra point.
Well, heaven, that involved John Lynch. And Nickerson certainly is one fiery type anyway.
Oh, absolutely.
Easy going, as we mentioned before, born-again Christian off the field, very mild-mannered, but boy, on the field, talk about undergoing a change.
Still a Christian on the field, but I tell you what, Jekyll and Hyde.
From the 7, Mazio Royster. And Mazio Royster with a nice return to the 34, and yet again, extracurriculars continue.
Jager hurt himself on that, making the tackle on Mazio Royster.
Yeah, Jager gets up. He seems to be running okay. Well, Dennis, I recall, again, listening to Jerry Glanville talk about his Falcons and how he tried to make them tougher, and we'll continue it in a second.
Now we see Jager here come from the right screen, diving in to make the tackle. Made the tackle on Royster, but Royster lands on his right leg. Of course, Jager not accustomed to taking those kind of shots or to making tackles.
Well, Jerry Glanville was trying to make his squad rougher. He actually invited the Philadelphia Eagles down to an off-season preseason practice session so they could fight for 2 hours. 9:49 left in the ball game. Erickson complete for the first down, and Copeland has room to run as Torrin Dorn pushes him out of bounds at about the 34. For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, welcome to LA Memorial Coliseum. You are watching the NFL on CBS and the game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Raiders. I'm James Brown along with Dennis Byrd, and our score, Tampa Bay trailing the Raiders 27-10. Erickson to Workman. And Workman has the first down and bores ahead to about the 20.
Wow, I am impressed with the tenacity of this Tampa Bay offense. Look at that. They are not giving up. They've got 9 minutes in this football game left to go, and they're going to maximize every second they get.
And Jeff Jager trying to check that ankle of his to make certain that it's okay. Tampa Bay has spotted the Raiders a 14-0 lead in the first. Cobb runs into his own man, but second and third effort still on his feet. Looked like a pinball player that time. 9 yards the hard way by Reggie Cobb.
The hard way. As you mentioned, he's a pinball just bouncing off a blocker. Oh, man, am I impressed.
And look at that uniform. Wow. That tells a story of what kind of day it's been.
Well, take a look at this. Watch Reggie Cobb. Finds his hole, gets around to
Bing the outside. Here, his own man.
Bing, that's one shot. There's 2 big shots. Chester McLaughlin.
And then gets pushed forward by Joe Kelly.
I guarantee you, by the end of that play, he had no idea which way he was going. Give me a drink, the man said.
And there's a down Raider player. Looks like Joe Kelly, and now he is up under his own power. And walks off okay. Final scores from around the league. Houston won its 9th straight, sweeping Pittsburgh for the season 26-17. Atlanta's playoff hopes very slim now, having lost to Washington. Atlanta has never won at Washington's RFK, and Buffalo continues to give Miami fits in Miami, winning that one 47-34.
Winning big, 47 points against that Miami defense. That is an accomplishment. People talked about it. We look at the 49ers have won that football game against the Detroit Lions,
and as a result clinched the NFC West.
Some exciting football being played today.
2nd and 1 for the Buccaneers. Erickson complete, and Copeland holds on. A 5-yard pass play, and it's a first down. Terry McDaniel with the hit. Tampa Bay, a big A for effort as we take a look at the NFC West. And these are updated standings. San Francisco clinched the NFC West with that victory. And Atlanta, as I mentioned before, Atlanta hurt its chances against the Washington Redskins, losing today. First and goal from the 4. Cobb. Flag on the play. Nolan Harrison on the stop. Nolan Harrison was involved in quite a bit of jawing and pushing earlier with Mazio Royster. You saw him put his hands up trying to keep from having a penalty assessed on him.
You know, Nolan Harrison.
Illegal use of the hands. Defense. Hands of the face mask. 5 yards. Or half the distance. First down.
Nolan Harrison being very animated. You see him in this game, a very tough, mean, rough player. But you know what his hobby is? Collecting comic books. He's got a collection of over 4,000 comic books.
Well, I'm sure Action Comics for sure.
I wonder in which comic book you see somebody throwing somebody's helmet.
Trying to act like Thor, huh? First and goal. Buccaneers.
Same play they scored on earlier.
And a nice block again by Rudy Harris.
Rudy Harris, let me tell you, the exact same play, the exact same side of the field, exact same end of the field.
3rd rushing touchdown of the season for Reggie Cobb.
Hey, if it works, keep running it.
No doubt about it.
Here's the replay as we see it again. You watch the guard on the right of the screen, Bruce Reimers, goes to make the kick out, and Rudy Harris once again makes the block on Greg Townsend, freeing up Reggie Cobb for the touchdown. He just waltzes into the end zone. That's twice.
And that from a young man who is definitely not 100% healthy. Reggie Cobb with that banged up knee. Michael Hostetler on for the point after. And Tampa Bay not rolling over at all. Dennisburg battling its way. 27-17 with 7:14 left in the ball game, and there's a flag on the far side of the field.
Offside, defense. The point is good. We will penalize 5 yards on the kickoff.
Well, that might benefit the next team that gets this crew if, in fact, they're having problems raising their arms tomorrow.
We take a look at the replay. Rudy Harris lined up in the fullback position right behind the quarterback. Makes a tremendous block on the linebacker, Joe Kelly. Once again, you get the kick-out block by Reimers, and Reggie Cobb's going to take the ball into the end zone. Watch the block by Rudy Harris. Very good job. Of course, Joe Kelly reading the play, coming out. Rudy Harris just does a fantastic job getting the block. Reggie Cobb just steps into the end zone.
Rudy Harris will like looking at film tomorrow for sure. Reggie Cobb doing a nice job again. Hurt the 7th game of the season against the Atlanta Falcons in the Dome in Atlanta. Had 75 yards when he went out of that game in the 3rd quarter. Missed nearly a month, but still is the leading ground gainer on this Tampa Bay Bucs squad, and he's coming back and running strong.
A fine running back from the University of Tennessee. His marquee, Reggie Cobb's marquee, is that he keeps those legs driving, James. He just chugga, chugga, chugga. He just keeps going. Very powerful young runner, and he's the kind of guy along that Jerome Bettis type of mold that likes to dish out the punishment instead of take it. I tell you, I'm a very, very big fan of Reggie Cobb's. Having played against him and having watched him, very, very good football.
Onside kick is on here, judging by the setup. 7:14 left in the game. Tampa Bay trailing by 10. And yet some more extracurriculars. Curtis Buckley is going on and on the side of the Buccaneers. Well, you talk about one brave Raider. Terry McDaniel is taking on all 53 himself.
We talked about the toughness of Terry McDaniels, but my goodness.
Well, it looked like the Raiders recovered, but in the midst of the mayhem there, we'll have to verify that, but it looked as if Tim Brown was the one who came up with it.
Tim Brown recovers the football. Lynch comes in, gives the shot to Tim Brown. We see Tim, he looks like the 3rd guy from the left.
Number 81.
Number 81,
yes, in
Tim
fact,
Brown.
he did get it.
And Lynch comes in.
Oh, yeah, that's reason to be upset.
A little late shot.
That's reason to be upset.
The rest of the Raiders weren't too pleased about it. I got it.
First down.
I got to tell you, I admire, I don't know if you'd call it courage or what, quite possibly stupidity of Terry McDaniels. Holy smokes. Here's the fight. Now,
and see, Rocket Ismail was the one who was caught in the act. But look at Terry McDaniel going against 5 Buccaneers.
Well, I guess the only advantage that Terry McDaniels has is he knows that every punch he throws, he's not going to hit one of his teammates. Just let him rip.
Well, Terry McDaniel is one guy you want to go into battle with. My goodness.
I guess so. A tough young man.
Wow. Kansas City, San Diego, what a battle there. And with Seattle, Phoenix, and flags, well, just what, nothing new. Bruce Wilkerson and Demetrius DeBose. Wow. Well, you know what? We did the Atlanta-Houston game, and I know we kept a punch stat for that one. This one certainly has to rival it. I tell you.
Start. Offense, number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
This has the makings of one of this decade's greatest fights, Jay.
Well, and Al Davis is a big fight fan, but I'm not sure that he's enjoying this. And a reminder, coming up at the conclusion of this contest, it'll be 60 minutes, seen in its entirety, except on the West Coast and the Mountain time zones. Hostetler to McCallum. Napoleon McCallum across the 30. A running gain of 2.
A running play we haven't seen a lot of so far in this game, which is the counter play.
You said not having seen enough of that?
We haven't seen much of it. Well, of course, here's the most important stat of the day. Punches thrown, Tampa Bay 57, the Los Angeles Raiders 72.
Now what's most important is punches landed.
How many landed? I assure you, Terry McDaniels took his share in that little foray over on the sideline.
2nd and 13. Ball at the 31 of the Raiders. Hostetler complete to Tim Brown. Brown takes it up to the 40, needs to get to the 44 for a first down. 9-yard pass play.
I hardly think that stat is correct. There have been punches, there have been kicks. This should be a kickboxing match. We ought to have the kick stats, punch stats. We ought to have them all.
Well, your point's well taken, though. Probably nothing more stupid than a football fight with all the equipment on. That's why you keep your helmet on.
And here's the ring announcer.
He's ready. 3rd and 4. Hostetler complete for the first down. Rocket Ismail finally stopped by Roger Jones. 15-yard pass play. Hostetler to the Rocket. 5:30 and counting left in the ball game. Now, Dennis, I think we may mention the fact that this is, without a doubt, the fastest wide receiving corps in the National Football League. And look at those times.
My goodness, look at these times. 4.2s, 4.17s, 4.4s, 4.3s. My. Times from college. World-class speed indeed. And the fastest guy is on defense, probably James Trapp. Nick Bell keeps it on the ground. A gain of 4. Will bring up a 2nd and 6 with 4:52 left in the ball game. I tell you, James, that
there's James Trapp, the guy we were talking about, who was probably the fastest of the group.
Probably the fastest guy in the entire group. I haven't been a 4.140 in my car. These guys it's unbelievable the speed that they have. Coach Shell told us if they were to put together a 4x100 relay team, there would have to be guys sitting on the bench. You've got 6 or 7 guys that run 4.2, 4.3, 4.140s. You got to set guys out. You could have a little runoff to see who's the best guy for your 4x100 meter team. And interesting enough, Willie Gault isn't even starting in this game. He's the only one that's won an Olympic gold medal.
He's old fast, if you will.
He's old fast. I tell you, fast is fast.
There's a timeout on the field as you take a look at the current numbers for timeouts. Tampa with 2 and the Raiders with 1 with 4:52 remaining in the ball game. Coming up next Sunday, NFL action continues here on CBS. Doubleheader action, Detroit at Chicago. That will be the big game. The Saints at Philadelphia. Late games include Washington at Dallas, Giants at Phoenix, and Tampa Bay at Denver. That'll be coming your way next week here on CBS. And of course, the NFL today kicks it all off. 2nd and 6 from the 42. McCallum and Jimmy Williams with the hit. A gain of only 1 on the play.
I might mention that James Jett did get a gold medal as an alternate on an Olympic track team.
Another timeout called by Tampa Bay, leaving 1 for Tampa Bay and 1 for the Raiders. We saw a shot there of Howie Long and Chester McLaughlin. Boy, that's an interesting pair. As we look at remaining games left for Kansas City, Denver, and LA. Teams, of course, in the chase. And what would you judge by the remaining schedules?
Well, I tell you, you got to think that Kansas City obviously is in the driver's seat in the AFC West. Denver Broncos, they've got a pretty, well, obviously with the Raiders, or with the Tampa Bay, they feel that that's a game that they should win. And of course the Raiders, the Los Angeles Raiders, they're in control of their own destiny right now. If they get into the playoffs, it's entirely up to them, obviously.
Green Bay can be difficult, though. A little over 2 minutes remaining in this contest, and look at the score here, 28-24. San Diego was leading in that contest, 17-zip, and boy, have they battled back and forth. Raiders fans will love nothing better than to see San Diego pull that one out. Incomplete. Intended receiver was the Rocket. Ricky Reynolds right there. And keeping the playoff picture in perspective as we look at the AFC West standings, the Raiders again right in the thick of it, and we've driven the point home that the Raiders cannot afford a loss in this game or the upcoming 2 remaining contests as they look for one of those playoff spots.
Coach Shell had mentioned earlier that they were in a 5-game playoff spot in the season. They had to win all 5 football games. They win this one, they've got to win the next 2 to get in the playoffs to hope for a wild card spot.
Jeff Gossett on to punt, standing back at his own 45. And Courtney Hawkins will let that one go. So Tampa Bay will operate from its own 20 with 4:30 and counting left in the ball game. Both teams with 1 timeout apiece remaining. Tampa Bay trailing 27-17. Reggie Cobb the back. 1st and 10, Tampa Bay. Oh, Howie Long. Bruce Reimers of Tampa Bay said, in looking at tape of Howie Long as Reimers limps off, we mentioned that he was struggling with a bad ankle anyway, was supposed to have rotated every 5 plays with Charles McCray. Reimer said he was not counting on it, and properly so, because he has not been rotating, but he said Howie Long hasn't lost a step.
Howie Long hasn't. He said if in fact Howie's gained a step because he worked so hard in the offseason. He has his own personal trainer, and he just really keeps getting better and better.
On 2nd, Lenny Levitt
Get that.
complete to Workman. Workman slips ahead across the 25. Gain of 6. Tampa Bay needs to get to the 30 for 1st down.
James, we would be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about Howie Long. 7-time Pro Bowler. He's going for his 8th Pro Bowl, and he is playing exceptional this year. He is certainly playing up to the standards that have gotten Howie Long into the Pro Bowl for 7 years.
Only Art Shell is an 8-time Pro Bowler with the Raiders. Erickson decides to run it. Gets a nice block by Ron Hall as Erickson runs for the 1st down and smartly out of bounds. Another flag thrown. The flag at the 28. Ron Hall did a very nice job as he looked back and saw Erickson starting to run and give him a block. And there's the 8-time Pro Bowler we were talking about, Art Shell.
Ron Hall, of course, a veteran tight end for the Buccaneers, doing the smart thing, making the block for Erickson. Of course, he wanted to seal and give Erickson the outside so he didn't have to cut it up and take the shot.
Personal foul. Defense number 91. Hands to the face. 1st down.
Chester McLaughlin. Bruce Reimers also had some kind words for McLaughlin, not of the penalty variety, but the kind of package that he brings to the field.
A big package, James. I tell you what, Chester McLaughlin is a huge man and very explosive and very powerful. That's what makes him such a good ball player.
On 1st down, Erickson looking for Wilson, has him for the 1st down. And Wilson brought down by Eddie Anderson. Tampa Bay in Raiders territory, an 18-yard pass play. And again, Tampa Bay with 3:07 remaining. Still very much a factor. We have seen some strange things happen. 27-17, trailing by 10. A touchdown and a field goal. Incomplete, thrown at the feet of Charles Wilson.
We take a look ahead for what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have to play in the last 2 weeks at Denver and Mile High Stadium, of course, and then at San Diego. Obviously, not easy games for the Buccaneers, but it gives them once again that opportunity to instill that winning edge and something very positive to end on this season.
Second down. Erickson decides to run it again and dives for the 1st down. Aaron Wallace on the stop. The clock continues to wind down. 2:30 and counting.
Greg Erickson has certainly earned my respect throughout this football game and on this drive.
1st and 10 from the 21 of the Raiders. Operating from the pro set. Workman in motion. Erickson rolling right. Drills a pass complete to Horace Copeland at the 10.
Nice job.
An 11-yard pass play, good enough for a first down, and Tampa Bay looking impressive on the drive as we wind toward the 2-minute mark.
Coach Sam Weiss is doing something here for his young quarterback. He's getting a rollout. They're going to pull an uncovered guard and get him in front of Erickson. Rollout protection. What that does is it effectively makes only 2 rushers. You see them, Long and McLaughlin, only 2 rushers able to rush the pass. Look at the punishment Horace Copeland takes there.
From McLaughlin at the end. Wow. Sam Weiss looking at his club, trying to get him to move. 1st and goal from the 10. Erickson looking for Hall, make it more incomplete. Looking for the backup tight end, Dave Moore. And we're at the 2-minute mark. 1:57 left in the ball game.
We take another look at it. The ball goes in and out of the hands of Moore. Oh.
1:57 left. Tampa Bay trailing by 10. 27-17. Raiders on top of Tampa Bay. 1:57 left in the ball game. Both teams 1 timeout apiece. Tampa Bay at the 10. 2nd and goal. And don't forget, coming up next at the conclusion of this game, 60 minutes seen in its entirety except on the West Coast and in the Mountain Time zones. Trips left. Ron Hall in motion. Erickson throws it away smartly. No one open that time. And there is a flag on the play. Surprise.
But this one will go against Tampa Bay, James. Illegal motion.
Illegal motion. Offense, 2 players moving prior to the snap. Penalty is declined. 3rd down.
That'll do it.
You've got Hall is the one that's supposed to be in motion, and Copeland is not. And Copeland starts to move. The reason they put Ron Hall out there, a tight end, is so they could come back and run a tight end set the next play and keep the Raiders off balance.
3rd and goal. Workman, the ball carrier. Nowhere to go. Stopped by McLaughlin. A loss of 3, and Sam Weiss calls his last timeout with 1:39 left in the game. Straczynski holding for this 31-yard field goal attempt by Michael Hostetler. And it's good. Tampa Bay draws 3 points closer with 1:34 left in the ball game. And White encouraging his squad, trailing by a touchdown as we get set for the onside kick. Oh! The Raiders. Rocket Ismail has it at the 28 for the Raiders with 1:34 left in the ball game. Tampa Bay with no timeouts remaining. The Raiders with 1. And assuming that the Raiders do hold on, this is what the AFC West will look like. And again, as we made the point earlier on, Raiders have to win the remaining 2 ball games in order to secure a playoff spot. 8 teams going for 6 spots. Kansas City, a winner, improving to 10-4.
You know, you talk about how close everything's been. You've got 6 spots open, and you've got 3 teams right there in the AFC West that are sitting there battling for it. I tell you, talk about a competitive conference, as well as the AFC East, which is a competitive conference, Miami and Buffalo and the New York Jets.
Flags on the play with 1:32 remaining.
The Wiz, Steve Wisniewski, not pleased with the going-ons of the defensive linemen.
Well, Sam White certainly ought to be pretty pleased, not that the team, if in fact the score holds up, loses the ball game, but the effort displayed, even in the face of some of the mistakes, the turnovers that gave the Raiders the edge.
Illegal formation on the offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. Penalty is declined. Second down.
Here's the AFC playoff picture as we take a look at it. Buffalo, Houston, and Kansas City right now sitting very good. And Pittsburgh, wow, Pittsburgh swept by Houston this season, and even the New York Jets still alive in the playoff picture as Jeff Hostetler goes down on one knee. So Archell, who had difficulty putting a finger on exactly why the Raiders have been plagued by inconsistency, said the bottom line is let's still get the victories and keep going. We are on an uptick, and that's the way it appears, as if it will end with a victory being the uptick notion. And yet another flag.
Personal foul. Defense. Personal foul. Offense. Number 65 is ejected.
Well, if that's the case, if they're looking for vultures, they're heading toward the broadcast booth here, Dennis. In terms of bite-sized morsels, figuring out what has been resolved regarding the playoff picture, the Giants and Cowboys are in. The 49ers, with their huge victory over the Lions, clinched the West and a bye. And the Houston Oilers, sweeping the Pittsburgh Steelers, have clinched the AFC Central. Houston winning its 9th straight game this season.
The important thing right there with what we're looking at, the Giants, Cowboys, and Oilers are all three fighting on getting the home field advantage for the playoffs.
Who would have thunk it preseason that the Giants would be in that position?
No kidding. Turnovers with the coach.
No kidding. Dan Reeves. Oh, remarkable job by Dan Reeves as Jeff Hostetler goes down on one knee again. Dan Reeves got himself a running game and got rid of some players, kept the ones he wanted.
And much to the credit of my former coach, George Hinshaw, who is now the offensive coordinator for the New York Giants.
If you take a look at the difference between the play clock and the game clock, obviously the Raiders will have to snap it one more time, and Jeff Hostetler will do what Ken Stabler would call the position win the game. Get down on one knee. Fittingly, the game ends with a little yelling and screaming and pushing. That's been the common thread through this game. The Raiders come up victorious, beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 27-20. Sam White, his squad loses their 11th game, 11th consecutive year with 10 losses or more.